Pledge allegiance and the moment of silence for military and first responders. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we have a roll call?
Sure. Finken,
Present.
Haskell,
Here.
Bristol,
Here.
Pittsburgh. Here. Asplund,
Here.
Majeski.
Here.
Brown.
Here from Firewall.
Thank you.
Okay, has everybody had time to look over the agenda? So can I get a motion to approve it?
Make the motion, we approve the.
Second.
Roll call, Laurie.
Majeski.
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Finken,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the March 17th meeting, or is there any discussion?
I have a little bit of discussion,
Okay,
nothing real horrendous. Okay, it's about that, it said sequential anniversary, and I think it's supposed to be sesquicentennial, because 150,
It is. I must have typed it wrong.
well, everybody did done, so I just, yeah, okay, so good, that would be in there. S-E-S, you probably know how to spell it, okay, and then, better than I do. Okay, and then there was another one I thought was pretty funny. Over under committee reports, and it was number 6, and it's the hazard pay policy discussion. It says Attorney Byard updated the commissioners. Have been upgraded.
There you go.
All right, okay,
I will fix those.
okay, I thought that was pretty good. All right, and then, okay, I didn't find anything else, and your punctuation and spelling was perfect, like I'm supposed to be. Like I have nothing better to do. No,
okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes with corrections?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, Laurie.
Bristol,
Yes,
Asplund,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Majeski,
Yes.
Finken,
Yes.
Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes. Okay, general public comment. Valerie, do you have anything or just
No, I'm
here to visit?
listening, huh?
All right.
Hi,
Hello, how are you?
I am well. I'm glad everyone's here and healthy.
All right, anybody have any questions on the communications list?
I can put myself into timeout.
All right.
Quick one. I get carried away last night. I had some iced tea too late in the day. Nope, I think we're good there. Thank you.
No?
No,
All right. Tracy?
Okay, just wanted to give you a bit of good news. We received the CDBG funds that we applied for, our grant funds, $147,130.91. And those funds are going back into the general fund because they are items that we have already spent. So we were able to recoup those costs under COVID, and those funds came in yesterday, so.
great.
I sent an email out with regards to revenue sharing and some information from Dina Bosworth with Matt about talked about 2014 when we didn't get our revenue sharing, that we had to put our own money into a pot and pull those funds out while they're trying to recoup those costs for us. And if you saw that spreadsheet, it was roughly $900,000 for Clare County.
Wouldn't that be handy?
So my question to you is, yes, I asked everybody to contact their legislators,
Mhm.
but do we want a letter going from the board
Yeah,
Yes.
to the legislators, asking them to consider this for us?
yes,
Definitely.
yes.
Do you need a motion on that?
You can do that if you like.
I move that we send a letter to the board regarding the revenue sharing funds from the board.
I'll second it.
All right.
Thank you.
Roll call, Lori.
Asplund,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Fitchburg,
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Crystal,
Yes,
Haskell.
Yes.
Thank you. The LAPC meeting was held yesterday. Melissa DeRoche with the Health Department was there and shared that they'll be holding vaccine clinics in Isabella and Clare counties. Isabella, it's 18 and over, Hayes Township for those 16 and over. And if anyone has any trouble signing up, they can go to 211.
okay. And they need volunteers at Hayes Township.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have room for more people coming in. So know anyone that needs a vaccine.
I spoke with Jennifer Martin with 44 North and just an update that she'll be getting the health insurance numbers soon. And once she has those will be brought to the Board of Commissioners, and then we will be going to the unions with those as well.
Okay.
And last, I had a conversation with Gail Bensinger. He's our airport manager. And he has informed me after a conversation with someone from the state that there are grant funds available for the airport. And we are hoping for repairs to with those grant funds, repairs to the runway, the lighting, the pilot's lounge, all of those things that's needed to bring our airport from a basic utility to a general. And then hopefully eventually we can get some fuel and those types of things out there. So we're hoping these grant funds come through. We can apply for them in September. And Lori Phelps, I was talking with her about those and she had agreed to help
Great.
Sure.
write that grant. And also one last thing, just wanted to say a special thank you to Lori Phelps for all her hard work on the CDBG grant and writing that. I really appreciate that she did that and grateful that we were able to receive that money.
Yay, Lori.
Yes. Thank you,
Yep.
Lori.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. Lori out there.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can.
Okay, hi. Basically what I really want to do right now is just, instead of giving you my report, I can email it to you. I'd like to just start discussions again, and it's just discussions on wages for my home health aides. I just wanted to have a talk with you about it. You know, approximately 13 years ago when we started this program, we had a total of 17 employees and 4 home health aides. And we probably did about 4,500 hours a year of home care. Last year, we completed over 30,000 hours of home care. We have about 25 home health aides. And our total employee roster, we have probably between 55 to 65 people generally. So currently we employ the 25 direct care workers, which includes the personal care aides, home health aides, and nursing assistants to provide daily support to our older adults in their homes across the entire county of Clare. And as these baby boomers age, the need for our services is increasing Currently, our county is close to about 28% of age 65 and older. By 2035, the aging population is expected to increase by about 65% here in Clare County. As the population grows and drives up the demand for our in-home care services, the home help sector continues to struggle to fill the positions and stabilize this essential workforce. This is a national crisis, actually. The average hourly pay for this position in Michigan is $11.61 an hour. Clare County pays $11.65 an hour. Many agencies in our region and across the state are taking steps to increase the wages to recruit and retain these direct care workers. And we really need to think about following suit. It's estimated that statewide there's a shortage of the direct care workers by about 34,000. And it's not just a Clare County problem. However, it's a problem I really don't want to have in Clare County. The job is physically and emotionally demanding, helping people get in and out of bed, changing soiled diapers, cleaning sores, cleaning their homes, just general activities of living with a lot of times dealing with challenging behaviors. And a lot of times the conditions make it even harder to do this job because there's a lack of running water or indoor plumbing or a lot of hoarding. We really need help retaining these direct care workers. In the past 3 years, we have had seen an attrition of 60 people. So that's hiring and them leaving. 60 of them have left just in the past couple years. We don't have this issue with the nutrition program. We don't have it in any of the other programs. It's the in-home program that we have it. We scramble every single day to make sure that the seniors have the care that they're expecting that day or that they need that day. We're juggling to serve the highest needs sometimes because someone quits or doesn't show up to work because $11.65 is just not enough for them to go and get somebody out of bed and change their diapers, and they get burnt out. We are right now over 3 weeks out of being able to get people scheduled for their hands-on personal care. I've put together a proposed wage increase, and it's actually an incentive plan for you to review. I ask that you take some time to look it over, provide me with feedback. I really encourage you to come and talk to me or call me and learn about our senior services and our funding mechanisms and our transparency. Our funding does not come from the general fund. Nothing comes from the general fund. As a matter of fact, senior services at times helps. Like we partner with the sheriff's department in purchasing equipment for snow removal or heating and cooling with the courthouse. So we do contribute, but nothing comes from the general fund to senior services. And you're going to get this chart in your email, and I just want you to look at it, provide me some feedback, come and see me, call me. And I would like to note that I'm using hours as a milestone in this chart, as opposed to a specified period of time. Just because an incentive to work, if you have people that will have 4 clients and a client will pass away and they'll have 3 clients, and then they won't want to take on another client because they'll want to just only work the 12 hours that week. So if we say, okay, you can get an increase after 6 months and they're only working 12 hours a week, that would not be fair to the person who is working the 30 hours or 35 hours, and they still have to wait the 6 months. So that's why I did it that way. I just wanted to start these talks and really invite you to come and discuss it with me. I would like to discuss it with the board again next month at the next month's meeting. And that's all I have.
I have a comment about that. if it's okay. I'm on the Central Michigan Mental Health, County Mental Health for Central Michigan Committee, and they were talking about money for their in-home healthcare workers. And I can't remember the exact amount, but their wage is pretty close to $20 now. It's just under that. So just thinking about, what ours are being paid and what they're doing with the mental health workers. I just thought I'd throw that in there as perspective.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Lori, I have a question.
Yes.
Wasn't it a while back that because it was so hard to find the people we're discussing right now, that they offered some kind of grant money or would pay, excuse me, a couple dollars more an hour for this kind of work through the state?
Well, it's not because it's hard to find, it's because of the pandemic. So DHHS, the governor started it, and then DHHS took it over as an executive order. But the state pays us an additional $2.24 an hour to give each worker an additional $2 an hour. So they reimburse us every month to do this throughout the pandemic. And it is $2 an hour extra that they get right now while we're in the pandemic.
So they're getting $13.65.
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
that's not going to be able to help us. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You bet. And I do think that you have a good idea to have people come talk to you, because haven't been on this board for 3 years yet, but I'm still not totally aware of how your program is completely run. So it would be good for all of us to come visit you and check that out.
Yeah, sometimes
Thank you.
I don't really know how it's run either. Sometimes I wonder what I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invite. Pete, you're up.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Hi.
Welcome to the 2021 final equalization, the completion of our cycle, and then we'll launch right back into it in a couple of weeks here. But this is where the Board of Commissioners equalizes the county as it pertains to the March Board of Reviews that came through for the season after we finished our studies. And so all March Board of Reviews went great from what we understand. We have no factors to consider, which means we would bring them up to ratio. So the numbers are the numbers at this point. And after we have the board act on this, we'll send all documents up to the state. And then the state will perform their final equalization the first week of May. To give you an idea of some of the numbers here, in assessed value, which is assumed to be half of market value, the county saw an increase of approximately 96 million, which is a 7% increase approximately. But you folks are more concerned with the taxable value because that's what you levy your millage against. So I'll get right to the brass tacks of that. You actually had an increase of almost $41 million in taxable value. If you apply that to your millage as it stands right now, that's an increase of approximately $192,000 when you levy this summer. We are in the process of calculating the Headley rollback, which would say to the county, because of the multiplying formula there, that Headley doesn't want you to take in too much, so it would roll back your millage. Once we have that information in, we can show, give you a better idea of what your actual collection will be in the summer. So with that, I ask the board to approve the 4024 as well as the motion that, or the resolution she's given you also authorizes the clerk and the chair to sign the 4037s.
Jeff, a question?
Sure.
Thank you. I had a very good talk with the supervisor of Frost Township last night, and they're really concerned that they can't get the paper maps anymore. That's been discontinued. She said she put a call into you, but hasn't received a call back.
Okay.
And she would wonder if we could, or they could contract with equalization to give them the ability to get the information that they need online. Can the supervisors of the township do that?
Okay, and what was the supervisor's name?
Coon.
Cool. Okay, and I responded to her email and somehow it keeps coming back to me, so I will reach out again. She did, I believe, also meet with Kayla in our office and see our system that we
Yeah,
have now.
yeah, but she didn't, Kayla wasn't able to give her the answers, she said.
Okay, but I think Kayla did show her how you can do
She
measurements.
said she could only go so far in the system, and then she could not get the information she needed.
Okay, now, and we'll check on this, but as for the paper maps, to give you a background of what happened here, is that we found out once we had a change of computer systems that we were going to be looking at $1,000 annual fee a year to maintain the drafting program that Tina Moore was the only one that really knew how to use. So at that time also, the other departments, the clerk, register of deeds, and the treasurer's office were working with Leah in order to get all of the subdivisions outlined, because we didn't have any of that information. So the small little platted lot on the lake, you couldn't really get to that information. You'd have to go to the old paper. Well, not myself, but others coordinated for Leah to come in and fix those maps and get them up. At that point, we realized that we could work something out with Amalgam and have an online system. Now, later on, we have a contract here proposed with the township boards as well to provide services. What we're offering there is 3 levels of service. One is no service at all, which means your assessor receive the aerial photos and the parcel lines, but you would not have access to Amalgam. However, if item number 2, you contract with the county, we'll provide additional services as well as give you login information and such, so you can use that Amalgam system. The 3rd tier of that contract would be for equalization to provide all the assessment notices and tax bill services on top of the other services, which is the Amalgam and GIS. We've come a long way to the point of getting here, and I applaud all these other departments that got together and did this, because we've come a long way to having to go down to the township hall, sit down with someone and show them where the new division is and how many feet they are back, where anybody can pay a fee or go on, anybody can go on the system and do a measurement. But in order to get the tax information and such, yes, they would need to contract with the county.
So could you reach out to Supervisor?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
And again, this is where Clare County took a big leap in the future with this system. And so far we're tickled with the way it works. And Tracy told me the other day when we had all our splits entered by Amalgam, the cost was less than what we initially thought it would be.
Good.
So.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Pete?
Just a minor one.
Yes.
I was looking at all those sheets for the different townships, and you have listings for, real agricultural, commercial, industrial, and things like that. Can you tell me what industrial means?
Industrial would be a class of property that they're doing some sort of fabrication, manufacturing on site. As an assessor, each year you're supposed to evaluate that. So commercial industrial is one that bounces back and forth. One year you'll have somebody fabricating steel in their building or doing something in manufacturing, and then the next year it sells and they're doing retail. So you'll see that kind of bouncing back and forth between the 2 classes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So you talk about the 3 level services. So were these services free to the township before, but now they have to pay for it?
Well, there really wasn't a service there. There was a contract for Tina to keep the parcel lines and everything updated. And then there was a charge for the paper maps, and there was a charge for printing the tax bills and such. All we've done is restructure that because the county is incurring an expense with Amalgam. So we want to make sure that we pass that along and everybody shares in the cost.
And there are no paper maps now.
Well, we do have a plotter still in there, and we can print from Amalgam. It's just what we can't do, though, is print in tabloid size exactly the sections and such. We're relying now on a more robust system to where you're bouncing around to different properties instead of having to go to the hall and flip those maps and see where
Well,
things
evidently those paper maps were provided to the townships.
at a cost to the
At a
pre,
cost, and
yeah.
They didn't mind paying because they would be able to go right to the paper maps.
Right, and what we're saying now, though, is that what we find is that we can sit in our office and talk to somebody that's online at their house and both be looking at the same information, which wasn't there before.
That's why she needs you to call her.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I
thanks.
will get in touch with
All
her.
right, thank you.
All right. Rick, can you read number one, resolution 20-07?
Resolution 20-07, motion to accept the equalized value recommendation presented by the Clear Equalization Director of $1,473,547.897 for Clear County set forth in resolution 20-07.
Isn't that 1 billion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Second. May I speak?
Yes, you can, Lori.
Tracy, should that be 2107, not 2007 on the resolution?
Yes.
Is it okay to change your motion?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, roll call, Lori.
Get a second?
Yeah.
Dale seconded.
Lincoln,
Yes.
Majeski.
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Crystal.
Yes.
Scares me.
Motion carried.
All right. Yep, you do number two?
Sure. To approve the State Tax Commission Assessment Roll Certification, County Board of Commissioners, CBC L 4037, and allow the chair to sign.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Lori.
Majeski.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
yes. Pitchford,
Yes.
Lincoln,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes. Nancy, can you do number three?
Motion to approve the personal and real property totals L-4024 and allow the chair to sign.
Second.
Roll call, Lori.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Majeski.
Yes.
Lincoln,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Crystal,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Sandy, can you do number four?
Does it involve large numbers? Yes, I can do it. Okay. Contract for service through Clare County Equalization and Townships. Motion to approve the contract for services through Clare County Equalization and the Townships and allow the chair to sign.
I'll second.
Roll call, Lori.
Crystal,
Yes.
Pitchford,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Majeski,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lincoln,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. If I can make one more comment, Mr. Chair, before I
You bet, Pete.
I just wanted to let you folks know that the department, even though we've been through quite an equalization cycle here with COVID and such, and everybody has the same. But I want to go back to when we first started here. The one thing that I asked of the county is, did they have a key person in the office before we contracted services? Because very important to have that person that is familiar with the community, that is familiar with how the county operates and such. So as you know, Tina Moore did retire. Tina was that person, but I want to acknowledge Tracy Brubaker here, who has done a absolutely phenomenal job. When we bring this material to you and it's just, approved, Tracy puts all this information together for us. We do review, but for the most part, a substantial amount of any praise or any gratitude should definitely go to Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy.
Yes.
Good job, Tracy.
Yep. We appreciate it.
Okay, is Tom here? Doesn't look like it.
He's on.
Zoom?
he's
Right there.
on Zoom.
All right.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hi, Tom.
Two items today. I'm a Grant Township trustee, and I was going to talk to you about a blight ordinance, but I think in the effort to be efficient, I'm going to move to table that, really not even a motion. I see under section 10C, there's a Hayes Township blight enforcement discussion, and I think we're going to replow the same ground. So I think we ought to just wait until the Hayes Township discussion, and I'm going to learn the answers there.
Yeah.
Okay,
So number two, my second hat, I've announced my candidacy for the 97th state rep seat, Jason Wentworth's current seat. And just want to introduce myself. I'll be attending the meetings going forward. So
Oh, wonderful.
all right.
Good to have you, Tom.
look forward to meeting, attending in person. Don't judge me, but Rick Fankin's a friend of mine. So
Brother.
Gotta pay me up.
Yeah.
Good evening.
so anyway, yeah, thanks for your time. And I appreciate being on the schedule, but looking at it, I think I'd be better off to wait until the Hayes Township discussion under 10C.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay. Ronwin, can you take one under Justice Committee?
Sure. Motion to adopt resolution number 2108, declaring a continuation of the local state of emergency for Clare County, which shall continue until terminated by order of the Clare County Board of Commissioners and allow chair to sign.
I'll second that with a question.
Discussion, okay.
What are we looking at for carrying this state of emergency through? What date?
I believe it's still
It
the,
is until the board terminates it. It's at your discretion.
Okay, because I have townships that have asked if how long we're gonna
I have too.
continue on, because they want to have the option to do the
Zoom meeting.
too.
Yeah.
So it's at the discretion of the board of commissioners.
Right.
And my suggestion to you is listen to them, listen to your townships,
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to give us a time period so we can take it back. I mean, we're looking at 60 days, 90 days
Thought it was.
at this point right now,
I would say at least 90 days,
at
just
least 90.
until we can actually have a legal meeting
Yeah.
and allow people in.
So at least 90 days
Right.
then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe to enlighten everybody on that, the reason for that state of emergency was so we could continue meetings the same way with Zoom, so we could operate so everybody could attend on Zoom and not have to be. Okay. Roll call.
Asplund,
Yes.
Janeski,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Pittsford,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Fankin,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes. Rick, could you take two?
Sure can. To approve the counseling service agreement between the Clare County Prosecuting Attorney's Office and MGT of America Consulting LLC and allow chair to sign.
Second that.
Any discussion on that? Roll call.
Fankin,
Yes.
Haskell,
Yes.
Pittsford,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Janeski,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, looks like we got some discussion coming up in C. Airport Industrial Park property discussion.
Yeah.
This is my recommendation, is that whoever made that motion, make a motion to rescind it, and we put that property listed for bids.
I think I made the motion, didn't I?
Yes, you did. And
Yeah.
seconded it. And I have the ad prepared and can be placed in the paper and on the website. And it's just asking for people that are interested in bidding on it.
I'd like to make that motion to rescind my motion of the sale of the property.
I'll second.
Does Samantha have to resend her second?
from last month. Yeah, yep, I rescind mine as well.
That's Samantha second in your motion.
I second Dale's.
Yep. Okay. Roll call, Lori.
Majeski.
Yes.
Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Bankin.
Yes.
Bristol.
Yes.
Brown.
yes,
Asplund.
Yes.
Haskell.
Abstain.
Motion carried.
Okay, now we come to the blight.
Lori Phelps had asked for that to be placed on the agenda.
Okay. Hayes Township has discussed with us, community development, about contracting our code enforcement to enforce their blight ordinance. Currently, the city of Clare does contract with us to provide that service for them. So they pay us to do that. But if we went ahead and did that with Hayes Township, I would need to hire another body to help do that. So they're not ready to pull the trigger on that yet. And they want to go to the taxpayers and discuss that with them, because that's something they would be paying us to do. Remember, the building department also, the code enforcement and community development, none of that comes out of the general fund either. That all comes out of, their own separate funds. And so we would take in the revenue that would cover the cost of hiring somebody to do that if it, just a second. If it comes out that we end up doing that for Hayes Township. But I really just want your blessing to move forward with them in discussions so that we can get a system put together and then hire later, but it wouldn't be anytime real soon.
I have a question. When it was a hot topic in Hayes Township, the blight issue, and that for them to hire an officer, they didn't have the money. And they came to us before, and we were told that it's not the county's responsibility. It is per township and city municipality to take care of your blight officer. Now, is that any way gonna affect you moving forward or not?
No, I did find out back in 1989, the Clare County Board of Commissioners passed an ordinance for an anti-blight ordinance, 1989. So, and that has not been repealed by the Clare County Board of Commissioners. However, when townships have their own planning, they have their own planning commission, they have their own zoning, they initiate their own ordinances, they're responsible for enforcing their own ordinances. So if they contract with our department to provide that service, they're paying us for the service. Now, they wouldn't be able to pay us the full amount of what they'd be able to pay somebody to provide, hire, my phone keeps ringing, I'm sorry, it's distracting me. To hire somebody for their township. However, if they paid us a certain amount and Claire paid us a certain amount, I'd be able to hire somebody else that would be a full-time person to be able to do blight enforcement for Clare, blight enforcement for Hayes Township, and perhaps other townships if they were interested. But yes, yes.
Lori, there's a button on your phone that says DND. Push it.
Okay.
Dale, you got a question?
That's do not disturb. Okay, never mind.
Wait, okay, I found it.
Lori?
Yeah,
I've had several conversations with other the townships that have had a blight enforcement program. And a high percentage of their issues always end up in court. Are we gonna be able to recoup and keep up with the court costs for trying to enforce blight? And how do you get those costs charged back to the taxpayer?
It's part of the.
I mean, there's a high percentage of a few townships, high percentage of their blight issues were, they just turned into nightmares. They ended up in court. And it seemed like it just drug out and drug out and drug out. And the attorney fees and court fees and. I mean,
Yeah,
is this really something that Clare County really wants to get into?
Yeah.
That's why I'm coming to you and discussing it with you, because it would be a lot of work. I would have to hire another
Oh, yeah.
body. And it would be I would have to meet with the prosecutor's office and, like what we did with the code enforcement for the building department and set up a violation chart. I mean, there'd be a lot involved. I understand that. I don't know what all those costs look like until we get further into the discussions. But yes, there would be cost involved, and I would need to make sure that we're covering all those costs with what we're receiving through the contract.
Right.
I think Hayes Township has those numbers. They had a number, how much the employee is going to cost, but also their projected what your attorney fees and court costs would be. Also, Hayes Township might have those if you want to reach out to them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
from what I understand, at one point, Hayes Township stopped enforcing the blight law because it was too costly in court. I believe that's who it was Hayes Township.
Sandy?
Our blight officer, he learned the laws well enough. He saved us in Franklin Township a lot of court costs because he himself would come in and talk to the judge and things like that. Lori, would your new guys be able to do that too?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that would-
We have assisted somewhat. There was a couple places in Hayes Township that were really bad, and we did go in and help, but it was also because of safety. I mean, there were some safety issues building wise that we were able to go in and do that. I know that there are some really bad places. I mean, I know there are some areas that are,
Especially in Hayes.
yeah, my husband and I went on a date night looking at everything.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And all the blight. So I do know that it'd be a task but I also love this county and I also am willing to take on something that would make it better and look better and feel better. And, we put all this money into our community and community development with all of these grants that have come into the county, over the past, 10 years, I've written over $32 million in grants just for economic development. And if we can couple cleaning some things up with that beautifying and bettering the community, I would love to take that on. But I also need to have the blessing of the board, because that would mean we would have to hire, and it would be a process, and it wouldn't be people calling the township and saying, oh, my neighbor has 42 tires in the yard and it's a terrible, they'd be calling you and saying community development needs to come and take care of this, and it would take some time and it would be a process. So I do need to have the board's blessing to move forward, at least just to continue with the discussions with Hayes Township. And
Give me
what,
one
maybe
second.
blossom from there.
Is Tom still on there? If we're talking this, is that what, Tom, were you interested in? What questions do you have on blight?
We're a blank slate. Hey, Grant Township is an unzoned township. So we don't have any ordinance at all. And that's what we're struggling with the same conversation. Do we enact zoning, which is a great way to get hung in Hayes Township? Or, can we partner with the county on a situation? So that's why I've been had good conversations with the former Hayes Township supervisor on this. We also own property in Hayes Township, so it's personal for us. But yeah, no, we're a blank slate, open to any suggestions.
In speaking with Hayes Township, I understand there's grant money available and it's possibly enough to take care of this position. So I think we do need to discuss this further and look at it.
Okay, Valerie, you had a question, did you?
I was just going to comment that the Hayes Township board put on moratorium on their blight ordinances because they lost their zoning administrator.
Okay,
That's why they stopped enforcing the blight.
so you think Grant Township, Tom, would be interested in a countywide blight officer and participating in the costs, or?
I don't speak for the township. I'm here as a representative, but I can't speak for that. But I think Grant Township would be interested in learning more about it. If that's
Okay, so.
The township has not empowered me to say, yes, we want that.
Right.
They've tasked me with coming to find out more about it.
Okay, what do we need? I think it would not hurt to go move forward and have Lori research this. Do we need a motion to see if everybody's on that page, or can we just grant her our blessing?
Just grant it.
I think moving forward, I think we give permission to Lori moving forward.
Yes.
Tom, you might want to contact her and talk to her about that also.
I'm crafting an email right now, Lori.
Wonderful.
This is Commissioner Brown. I will also be in contact with you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right.
HVAC contract. Oh, who did we leave off on? Dale? I think Rick did the last one. Yep.
3-year HVAC maintenance contract for all county buildings with that Conti LLC pending review of the county attorney and allow the board chair to sign.
Second that.
Any discussion?
Rick is scowling.
See anything in there that troubled you?
No, I'm just thinking out loud, the cost of that. I mean, should we step back and look about maybe hiring this person to do this work, So, I mean, how much?
It is a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, because if you get a qualified person, you can do more than HVAC. I mean, you do a lot of stuff for the building. I think we should stop and just look, investigate that.
I'm on that page too. We had discussion about that at the finance meeting, that we're getting to a point where all these contracts we're signing are costing us a lot of money as we see the bills go through like they are. And could we employ somebody, share one with the sheriff's department? John was gonna talk to Brian Tomaski about that. So
I thought the,
I guess what is the building and grounds committee? What is their opinion on that?
Well, we had discussed it before. I mean, we had mentioned it before in meetings about, why we really don't have a maintenance person for. I know Carrie picks up a lot of the maintenance stuff and that, but I mean, she can't do the HVAC stuff. And there's a lot of stuff she can't do, although she does do a lot. I was always wondering as a commissioner why we didn't have a maintenance person for the facility.
I think.
So-
that's-
Just to give you a little bit of background, when I started here in 99, we did have a maintenance person on staff. Then it ended up being two. It was a husband and wife that worked. They were in the union and they did a pretty good job, and then they left us and we ended up with our cleaning contract with AWOL, and Carrie took on some of the maintenance responsibilities. And then we've had, at one point it was Mark Fitzpatrick, then it was David Leposki that was doing part of our maintenance stuff. But
I think that was a good fit, having
Yes.
the building inspector come in because he is knowledgeable in that kind of stuff, but since he's got too much responsibilities to take that on, so we did lose that portion
Right.
of
Do
it.
we
And I
pay
would-
additional to Carrie for the light maintenance that she does?
what's that?
Do we pay an additional to Carrie?
That's included in the contract.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, if you choose to do that, and I'm not against that at all, I think that it should be someone that's knowledgeable in the HVAC system, the control net system, because that's where we're finding that we're falling short.
It'd have to be somebody that's certified in that HVAC and boiler, electrical.
And how would you find somebody like that? And how much would you have to pay a person with all those certifications?
Yeah.
I think that should be a fact-finding thing.
Yeah,
How important is the HVAC 3-year contract? We can probably pay to get it fixed
Well, they do. they
if
do-
it breaks down.
Right, they
but-
do a maintenance.
But in the
This is
meantime,
just for the maintenance part.
can we delay it for 2 months?
I'd
And
Good. Yes, we just had,
handle this.
we just had the filters replaced by Answer Heating and Cooling, which is who we have the contract with now.
And that cost is,
That was in the maintenance contract.
right, well, how much is the maintenance contract for that?
It's roughly that same amount.
What same amount?
The amount that you were in the motion
Right.
for that
the
contract.
contract,
There's no amount in motion.
On the contract, though,
Contract, yeah,
yeah.
it was substantial.
oh, okay. Thought you were giving us a number for the amount.
Did it too, but I've lost that.
I forgot what it was.
Yeah,
89.
that's a lot of money. I moved to table.
Table for 2 months. You can vote on it and then renew the question in 2 months if you want to do that.
Could I ask a question?
Of course you can.
Sorry.
Would you want to maybe look at collaborating with the college with their HVAC program they have out there? Would that be an
No,
option?
that's a thought. That's a thought.
$17,000 to replace air filters.
They come in and they do the
understand.
belts, the oil, the boilers, all that stuff, yes.
And we had to pay that 17,000?
Yeah.
I say we vote on it,
Mhm.
like Lori said,
Okay.
and so, roll call.
We can postpone it for a month.
They said 2 months.
Didn't you say we could not do it for 2 months?
Right, you could, if it isn't brought back by the next meeting, it goes away. But you can ask the same question at another meeting too,
Right.
and if it goes down.
Okay,
Jeske,
No,
Bristol,
no,
Fitchburg?
No.
Brown,
No.
Hankin,
No,
Asplund,
No,
Haskell.
No. Okay, number 4, shredding. Samantha, can you read that?
To approve budget adjustment 21-74 to move funds from contingency not to exceed $4,000 to the building and grounds budget for the purpose of shredding.
I will second it with a question. Is our shredding increased by $4,000 or did we just,
No, this
did we
is,
not budget enough?
we don't budget for shredding. We have a shredder downstairs that we use for occasional shredding. This is for multiple boxes This is for personal stuff. This is stuff that we don't have the time to go down and do it. We have a shredder that comes on site. He
Is it
sits in the,
a truck?
truck, they sit in the parking lot, we wheel the boxes out there and they shred everything on site. We don't do this all the time. I had several departments come to me and say, hey, I'm getting a lot of shredding here and we really need to look at having them come in and do shredding again for us. So I reached out to the departments and asked them approximately how many boxes they had. And that's where we got the 4,000. It's actually cheaper than another company that I looked at.
How often do we do this?
Well, I don't think we've done it and it's been a couple years since we've done it, 2-3 years.
Doesn't Carrie do shredding? We send ours to Carrie out of the courts. We give it to her. Doesn't she go down and shred?
Yeah, she does do some,
Bonfire.
but like my payroll department, they've got several boxes of stuff that needs shredded because it's gone beyond the 7 years. The sheriff's department has several boxes, prosecutor's office, treasurer's office. So, I mean, if you want us to.
So this would catch us up on shredding and then we
Yes.
probably wouldn't have this need for a while again.
Right.
Okay.
How much will that leave us in contingency if you take the 4,000 out?
60,
60,000.
yes.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Richard,
Yes.
Dusky,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Asplin,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Sandy, you take courthouse main door replacement?
Okay, motion to allow for replacement of the main door on the courthouse in the amount of $8,582 and approve budget adjustment 21-76.
We have a second? Do we have any discussion? Okay. Rick?
Second,
Nope, no one second yet.
so you know, once there's discussion, that counts as a second.
Okay. Rick had,
Oh, sorry.
Rick had something to say. I'll.
No, I didn't see his hand. No,
Well, we're both on this.
Yeah, I would start. Me and Rick actually looked at that door
yes.
and we felt the only problem is the center
Mhm.
style.
Mhm.
The bottom's loose, wore out and we were wondering, could we get someone in there to weld that back on there or put a bracket and anchor it in the concrete to save us $8,500 because the rest of it looks good.
Sandy had a good idea.
And now Tracy said, well, there's wires running through that. Well, I believe those wires have to come from the top.
Yeah.
They don't come through the bottom. So I think you
No.
could weld that.
Right, yeah, they
And-
come through the top.
So I am not in favor of that for the simple fact I feel that's way too much for what's wrong. And maybe this is something that if we had a maintenance person, it would already been fixed because he would have done some way to, like I say, get a fabricator in here to weld something on there and or put a bracket and anchored it into concrete or cemented it in or something,
Took it out, took it down to fabricator.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sheriff Wilson was talking to us about that. And they have a maintenance man and our discussion was, could we hire him part-time too? Or share him? Which was it? Share him, share him.
But he was gonna check and see if he even had time.
Yes, so we're kind of waiting to hear on that.
Yeah.
too.
So
Yeah, I like the idea of fixing it ourselves.
that is my take on that door.
So we're looking at welding. Oh. Never mind. I think I might have a welder.
And I did too. I just didn't get the name of get
Somebody
that
just
person
said,
up here to look
I
at.
know someone who's a great welder.
Yeah, okay.
Jeff, do you want me to have Brian come over and look at that sometime today? I can.
Good.
That would be great.
Yes.
Can you come over now before the meeting's over?
No, he's busy.
Okay, just
I
asking.
like that.
Okay,
And also, I'd like to get Will Workman up here to look at that also.
Absolutely.
Well,
I'll let Brian know right now.
all right,
thank you.
Good deal.
Ready for roll call?
ready for roll call.
Bristol,
No.
Pascal,
No.
Pittsburgh,
No.
Majeski,
No.
Bankin,
No.
Asplund,
No.
Brown.
No.
I have a question about that. Because I'm remembering from my last term that if you're the person that makes the motion, you're not allowed to vote yet, no on it. Is that?
Not to my knowledge, you can vote. Anyone can make a motion and second it for the sake of discussion.
Okay, all right, okay. Because I remember about that. All right,
So-
thanks.
Because I was the one that started talking first. I was the seconder on the motion.
Correct.
Makes sense. All right.
Okay, so neither one.
Fun and educational, Sandy. Can you
Yes.
believe it?
Right.
Okay.
You know your Robert's rules, Lori.
I'm learning, I'm studying.
Very good.
Okay.
So I have a suggestion. If we bring stuff to our maintenance committee or our courthouse and grounds committee, and they don't want this stuff put on the agenda, please let me know that when we meet.
I think it was great that it was on the agenda. I'm
Just so we
really
can have some
happy.
discussion about it.
No, because if you look at that and you look how much money that is,
Yeah.
and that's all the information you're getting. Well, if
Yeah, that makes
know,
a difference, yeah.
it shows right here that we're trying to be, responsible for the money the
Right.
county's spending, and it shows how much they're charging. So those two things right there. What do we have? 8,500 and 17,000. That
Right.
for those two things pays almost a full year's or a half year's salary for somebody. So
Okay.
Not my.
Kind of. puts everybody in the know on how much this stuff costs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
And it does.
we have questions a lot as far as on the finance committee is here's a $15,000 contract, a $7,000. And I'm not saying that's bad. We,
Yeah, she questions a lot.
Oh, well.
Mhm.
so
Well,
That's all
yeah,
good.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Bronwyn, can you take finance and administration committee number 1?
Motion to adopt the budget calendar for fiscal year 2022.
And I was looking.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yep.
Roll call, Lori.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Majeski,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Rick, could you take number 2?
Appropriate budget. Approved budget adjustment 21-75, moving 1,500 from the contingency to establish a appropriate budget.
Do we have a second?
Second it.
All right, now let's discuss that. I don't
Yeah.
even know what that is.
Explain it.
I asked for that to be put on the agenda. Every 10 years, there's a reapportionment of the districts in the county. It's different than the state level redistricting or reapportionment that you hear about.
Yes.
This is county level. On that committee is the clerk register, the treasurer, the prosecutor, and the chairperson from each of the 2 political parties. We have to meet to discuss reapportionment after we get the census figures. Those won't come until we're hearing late in the fall. But we do have to start the meetings. We have to pay per diems and mileage. We have to purchase maps to be completed for the
No, that's when you get the census, you look and see how many people are in each commissioner's area and if it may have to,
decrease or increase or.
different road, different, gotcha.
This happens at, the 10-year period with the regular.
I wasn't sure if we even needed any money, and then through my conferences I've been going to, we learned how the process works, and we do have to pay out that. I originally asked Tracy for 3,000, but because we're going to be, the majority of the work will be done after the new fiscal year, probably. 1,500 is probably a little high, and we may not use it. But I did ask for 1,500 in case we have to start the map, printing the maps. And I've reached out to Amalgam, the company that we do our equalization GIS through, and they can do those maps for us. But we did need some sort of budget to start. Our committee meets for the first time May 13th, I believe, and then we'll set a schedule. Start working.
And as a member of that committee, I think you're a little premature in asking for money to apportion because we haven't met yet. So we haven't discussed what kinds of things we're going to need to spend money on. And I think it would be prudent for the board to not vote on this yet and allow the apportionment committee to meet, elect their chairperson, and then decide what it is that we need.
I
Right?
figured we could
I think
increase
you're,
if we needed to, because we do have to pay per diem and mileage for that first meeting. That's why I went ahead and asked for it to be on the agenda, so we would have
well,
to cover the.
I think you're putting the cart before the horse, Lori. I've been through the apportionment process before. You don't ask for money until after you've had your first meeting.
And would you reimburse the people, or you'd pay them after for their mileage?
Pay them until the board.
You can
met.
pay them after, but I believe that the last meeting, at the last time we did this, we all waived those fees.
And they may do that again. I don't know. We haven't met. I haven't asked.
Well, should
And then-
we,
And I think that once you do, we can always put in, the board is aware that we meet, and we can put in for reimbursement for those costs, and then ask the board to allocate whatever money we're gonna need to have allocated to do the job.
when do you think you'll meet, Michelle?
13th of May, they said.
13th.
Okay, so should we just,
It's up to you.
Let's table it till the next meeting. We can do that for 1 month, correct? And you'll meet before the next board meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
I attended a Zoom meeting about this redistricting, and they went, through the stuff for the state and then the counties. And I noticed that they encouraged the counties, the districts, to be as black-like as they could, I guess that would be better for.
There's going to be a lot.
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen in our county, so, because the population is so weird,
Right.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
we'll spread out weirdly. Yeah,
We are spread out weirdly.
yeah.
Dale, could you do number 3?
Sure. To allow the sale of 8 county-owned vehicles, 13 seized vehicles, and 1 544D front loader at the Clare County auction.
move the motion.
Second. I think Bronwyn seconded it.
No, I
Dale.
moved it, You seconded.
Yeah.
Dale had the motion.
Oh, Dale, okay.
Oh, sorry, I seconded it, yeah.
Well, too late, Rickard. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's have a arm wrestle for it.
Yeah, doesn't matter,
Okay, so who was Rick?
Rick and then.
I can.
Dale and Rick.
Be Dale and Rick.
Dale and Rick.
I was third.
Discussion. These are vehicles that we don't need and it's time to get rid of and
Right.
Mhm.
generate the money,
And the
county some
sale of
money.
these vehicles
Where?
goes where?
Well, the county vehicles, that goes back into the county fund.
Okay.
The
But the seized vehicles, those go into. the-
Michelle's
Yeah. Yeah, the forfeiture fund,
forfeiture fund.
Now,
I do believe.
John, are you out there?
I'm loud and clear.
John, these vehicles, the 8 vehicles, are they in need of serious repair, or are some of them in halfway decent shape, or?
Well, they're all different. The county vehicles, yeah, the seized vehicles are in all different shape. The county vehicles are at the point where we're done putting money into them. 2 of them are your animal control trucks that we replaced, 1.5 years, 2 years ago now. We finally had them. They were sitting over there. We didn't have an auction last year. So those are ready to go. And the rest are just really old patrol cars.
There's not any other departments that could utilize any of those?
Not worth the money and the liability that they would need. That's our mechanic.
Okay.
Roll call.
Majeski.
Yes.
Bristol.
Yes.
Asplund.
Yes.
Pittsford.
Yes.
Dankin.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Casco.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Samantha, can you take number 4?
Motion to appoint Gail Garrity to the Clare County Jury Board for a term of May 1st, 2021 through April 30th, 2027.
Second.
Wow, that's a long one.
Yeah, really.
I think she'd be good. She's a trustee for Greenwood and she's very thoughtful, thinks things through. I think she'd be good.
The jury board, we have to use political party as well as some of the other boards. And we had a Republican step down and left 2 Democrats on the jury board. So we had to replace with a Republican. We took the recommendation from the Republican Party chair. The chief judge approved it. And then it's up to you if you accept his recommendation.
Roll call.
Pitchford.
Yes.
Majeski.
Yes.
Bankin.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Bristol.
Yes.
Asplund.
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes.
Motion carried.
My opinion, they gotta be a trooper to sign up for a 6-year board. So
Yes,
thank you, Gail.
it really is.
Sandy, can you take 5?
Statutory Finance Committee, motion to approve Statutory Finance Committee meeting minutes of March 22nd, 2021 and April 5th, 2021 in the amount of $37,938.15 and $198,260.56. I practiced those last night. I honest to God did.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, Lauren.
Bristol.
Yes.
Asplund.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Yes.
Pittsburgh. Majeski. Pascal.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Bronwyn, can you do 6?
Sure. Motion to approve the expenditures for the month of March 2021 in the amount of $3,273,866.58 with the general fund expenditures totaling $747,591.19. A lot of money.
I'll second it.
Gosh.
Roll call.
Asplund.
Yes.
Majeski.
Yes.
Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Bristol.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Bankin.
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Rick, can you take number 7?
Sure can. Budget adjustments, motion to approve budget adjustments number 21-67, 21-70, 21-71, 21-72, 21-73, 21-79, 21-80, and 21-81. Amount of $19,780, $14,337, $19,075, $15,800, $11,693.94, $15.47, and $91.50 to be distributed.
I'll second that.
Tracy, do you know what the veterans one is for?
Is it $300?
10,000.
Oh,
There's nothing on it. Says what it is.
I remember that one, but
It's
The 296, I believe that's one of their funds.
It's the Freedom Park one,
Yeah,
and it's
okay.
just, they had the money budgeted in the incorrect line. This is for a statute that is over 5,000, so it just needed to be switched lines.
thank you.
You're welcome.
City's sending over a welder to look at our door.
Great. Oh,
I'm just supposed to tell you that.
Okay.
awesome.
Let's,
Gonna vote on that?
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Roll call.
Bankin.
Yes.
Bristol.
Yes.
Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Asplund.
yes.
Majeski.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay. Dale, can you take 8?
Or to approve the revisions to the Clare County COVID plan and allow chair to sign.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call, Lori.
Andreski.
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
Fisher, Rankin,
Yep.
Brown,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay,
Ask a question before we get into.
you can.
Where are we at with IT issues? IT committee
Schedule.
meet.
Schedule.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
Jesse's right there, Information
Oh, I
Technology
see.
Director.
Okay,
I've got
super.
something to talk about with that also,
Okay,
that we've been talking about.
all right.
And are they out there waiting?
No, she said that they'd be here in 5 minutes and that was at 10:13. So, and it's 10:18.
Let's take a potty break and then we'll get into everybody's report. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mask on.
I think well, that door right now. Hey. Are you ready to give your report?
I am. The election deadlines for anything for proposal to be placed on the August election is May 11th at 4 p.m. The November election is August 10th at 4 p.m. There have been nothing placed on there as of yet. There's rumor of one township may have something on there for November, but nothing as of yet. Courts have been moved back to phase 1, which means we canceled all of our jury trials we had scheduled for May. Also in our courts, we're working towards moving away from our JIS system to a web-based system. And because our JIS system has a death date of late 2022, so we're working with the state on trying to do that. We're also looking into a kiosk to accept payments and for jury check-in. I wanted to also talk to you about a webinar I attended. It was a Fiscal Ready Communities Financial Best Practices webinar put on by the state of Michigan, Michigan State University Extension and the State of Michigan Treasury Department. That was an incredible webinar. They did email the webinar to all the participants afterwards. If anyone's interested, it went through, you are Bronwyn, okay, went through county government and policies we should have in place, Sandy, you are too, and reports that are out there that we can look at to help us understand our where we're at. They talked about the need for the budget progress reports, graphs, so we can see total revenue growth and in which areas, graphs and for expenditures, visual, so that you can see what's happening versus just numbers on a page attached to a fund. Where we've come in comparison to different revenues in different departments throughout the years, it was very informative. Those tools would help us see our problem areas and allow us to take a closer look at what's happening in those areas. And they promoted a multi-year budget, same as our treasurer has been asking for several years, that we do a multi-year budget versus a
State said that too in their recommendations.
Yeah, and the state was in on this webinar as well. In fact, our auditor was a speaker on this. You'll see her in there. And then I just wanted to throw this out to the commission to maybe create a committee on policies. The committee doesn't have to be board members. I know you're all busy. Could be other community members, leaders in the community, department heads. There were statutory policies that we're supposed to have. If we have them, I don't know about them. Tracy's emailed me I asked for the policies and she emailed them to me and they weren't in there. We had one of the 4 that I know of. Tracy might know if we have more, have the other ones, but one's like an ACH policy. I know we have a credit card policy.
Yes, okay.
That would be something to look at, to keep on top of our policies too. And maybe look at what statutory, I know Bronwyn's been asking for, what policy have you been asking for?
Well, several, but haven't gotten any yet. I'd have to go back over the list.
So you asked for the capitalization policy.
I got that.
Yeah.
That's something that I got on my desk to create, but I haven't had a chance to.
I know.
And a policy committee might be able to take some of that burden off from the administrator too. And then maybe she could review it and present it to the board, however. But that's an idea, something to be looked at. And if we have policies in place and everyone abides by the policy, everything will run a lot smoother. Budget policy was one thing that they talked about. To my knowledge, we don't have a budget policy, but that would have laid out. I didn't get training on the budget, any formal training when I took office. It was just ask questions and learn here and there. Formal budget policy would be helpful to the new people and help understand. And then the last thing on my list is my IT request. Again, I can wait until the IT discussion. We can talk about it now. I'm going to ask again for the board's approval to hire the IT for not only my register of deeds now, but I need it for my CPL as well. And that could be shared between the two funds. Happy to discuss that now or wait until the IT discussion.
And you said you have the funds for that already?
Yes, in a separate fund, not the general fund. Yeah.
I would say let's wait.
Okay.
Because I think for the board to make any kind of informed decision on that, we've also got something to bring to the board to ask permission to do also. So let's wait till the IT discussion.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Lori. Jenny?
Good morning.
Morning.
We just sent out our first delinquent notice from settlement when the local units have turned over their tax rolls to us. So we sent out our first notice for the 2020 taxes and anything prior. There was 5,500 that went out. So you can imagine my staff has been swamped with phone calls and mail. We are buying back $4.5 million worth of delinquent taxes, and we'll be dispersing those funds out to the taxing and millage authorities by the end of this week. So they should start receiving it next week. Our foreclosure deadline was also at the end of March, and I am happy to say we only foreclosed on 34 parcels, which is the lowest since I've been here in 12 and a quarter years.
That's good.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I have to give kudos out to my staff. They were rock stars. We invested in a program that enables us to reach people because, you know, people change phone numbers, change addresses, and they don't really let other people know. And we just really want people to have their properties. This will be the first year in which the new legislation takes effect regarding the foreclosures, in which anybody that has been foreclosed on can make a claim to get any, if there are any excess proceeds above the taxes and cost of which the property would go up for sale for. So that will be something new for us to look at.
Are we in the clear? Are we in the clear on having to pay back any of that?
We are not. There are still many lawsuits out there that are waiting to be settled, and most of them are waiting for one specific case to be settled, and then they will settle the others. So we're not in the clear on that yet for anything prior. The tax anticipation note, Tracy and I have been working on, and we finalized, and I do believe we'll be getting the funds for that on Friday. We did reduce it to 1.5 million. There are just so many unknowns with the American Rescue Plan monies coming in that we just had to move forward because we will need the money one way or another. Tracy and I have been attending many webinars regarding the American Rescue Plan money. There's, I'm sure you guys are aware of that. They're working on it, and it seems like each webinar we attend, there's a little bit more explanation on do's and don'ts. I did talk with a financial advisor that works for bonding specifically. And I'm really trying to push for our IT infrastructure to be reimbursed out of that. And he asked me to reach out to my auditors, which I've been reaching out to them for other reasons. So I mentioned it. And it does look like they will realize that as a capital asset. And so I do believe we will be able to get that reimbursed through the American Rescue Plan monies that will be coming through. That would be specific to the servers and the backups. It would not be for new computers or anything like that, because those would just be standard operating. And then I feel we need to, and I know you guys don't like hearing me say this all the time, but have more additional budget workshops pertaining specifically to strategizing on the American Rescue Plan monies. Tracy and I have learned a ton of that, a ton about it, but we really need to strategize on how we're going to work that with the constraints that are given. I'm also working to wrap up the audit with the auditor. We had some finishing things. It was delayed due to the OPEB report and possibly something from transit, but that should be closed up anytime. And then just one note, Brown, when I saw you or heard you mention about the monthly expenditures, that it thought that it was high, the 3.2 million. The 3.2 million is really not true expenditures. And I don't know if maybe it should be worded different, that that's the total amount of checks that went out, or if we should remove the trust and agency fund from that number. But that big number, the 3.2 million, was basically the current tax payment that passes through us.
Okay, maybe we
Township sends money into me and then I have to distribute it to the other. So that's really not a true expenditure.
Okay.
Just when you look at that, and it might help better give you, if we remove that from there, an idea of what's actually being spent versus
Yeah, I
just a
think that
pass-through.
it might be a good idea.
Yep.
But that's it, unless you guys have any questions for me.
I think you forgot something.
Uh-oh,
The tax anticipation note,
yes.
you got the interest for like 0.7 instead of 1.5. I'd like to say good job.
0.4.
0.4. Oh,
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes,
that's
yes.
very good.
Yes, absolutely. I was really excited, really thankful for that, for sure.
Well, I'd
Good
like to
job.
bring up the budget workshops. I think she's right. We need to start those again
yeah.
and work on that. Is that something we talk about here and later or what?
We can talk about that right now if we'd like to. Let's wait till we get to the state of the county budget before we discuss that.
All right.
And I don't know if you want to call it something different, because it's not going to be, I mean, the one that I'm referring to isn't going to necessarily be for the 2022 budget. It would basically be to strategize on the American Rescue Plan. So you can name it whatever you want to, an ad hoc committee or.
Workshop for American Rescue Plan.
And
Specific.
we may need to do some stuff before that, as far as everybody tabulating a list and seeing what we feel and or maybe as you guys learn more about it, could send out some email information to everybody to see what can and what can't the money be used on. So.
Yes.
Well, and one other thing, and we talked about this a little bit at not this past finance meeting, it was before that, but talked a little bit about strategic planning and how we had those meetings at one point. Maybe just getting the department heads together in a morning session and working through a list of things that they think is important.
The
as far as
priorities.
the you know,
Yeah.
relief funds. And then have the commissioners get together in the afternoon and do the same with them. And then everybody have come together the following morning and go through that list and talk about different things that we think are important and what we'd like to see come out of that.
Have you talked to any department heads about doing that?
Jenny and I talked about it a little bit.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's one way to do it.
It's good to note too that for the most part, it has to be COVID related. It has to be capitalized assets, but anything that we have going forward, we have to make sure it's sustainable in the future, meaning we can't go crazy on some stuff, because once this money is gone and we go back to normal budgeting, it has to be able to fit within our normal revenues that we would get.
Right.
These meetings would help
It would.
figure that out.
Right.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yes, and if you guys, I was gonna give a shout out. Trace had mentioned about speaking with the legislators concerning the revenue sharing payment that the MAC feels is owed to us. I think I sent in the email. When you do speak with them, they might give some flack because we are getting some of this American Rescue Plan money, but we just wanted to know that the revenue sharing payment is totally separate and it's completely general fund money and it's not restricted. Whereas the ARP money that's coming in is restricted to COVID related only.
Okay.
So that's why it's important if they are going to pass this legislation to get that through, because then we could put it in and do what we need to in the general fund.
Yeah, that would be good.
I have a quick question for you. Do you happen to know if the townships themselves individually will be getting any of that COVID relief money?
Yes, all of the townships and city will. The one thing that I think was inadvertently left off were villages. Villages are not addressed, so I don't think the village will be getting anything, but that is something where maybe the township could step in and help them with some whatever they're getting, or
Okay.
it might be something we may need to look into ourselves.
Okay. Do you happen to know when that might be happening, or is that the same time the
It'll be
county?
this, yeah, it'll be the same time. I believe, I want to say the townships and city may be getting paid through Sigma, where we're going to be getting it straight from the Department of Treasury.
Okay, because I asked all my township people this last round, have you heard anything about getting money? And they're all going like, no, we don't know. We don't think we're getting any money.
Yeah, yep. They're all getting money. We can look into it. I think Tracy and I have seen, I haven't seen the dollar amount, but I have seen where they've given percentages.
Okay, all right.
You can go right on the website and it tells each township, it tells exactly what.
Right.
Which website?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
web-
got it. I can show it to you.
If you
Okay,
want to have them reach out to us, Sandy, we can help
Okay.
guide them too, because they might not be on the
Yeah.
webinars like we are that
Okay.
explains it, or get the
Yeah.
emails.
That'd be great. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thrilled. Mine don't
Thanks, Jenny.
anything.
You're welcome.
Hey. Michelle, welcome.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good, you?
Good.
Michelle.
I
Hi.
am doing well. So currently, we have 694 active criminal cases covering both adult and juvenile delinquencies as of yesterday. So 215 of those are on my docket. Alicia, my chief assistant, has 175 of those, plus she handles the child support cases. And those aren't included in her case total. So she's probably closer to an active caseload to what I have. Caitlin is at 196 and Mark is at 108. We have 30 cases pending review for charges. And then we have 24 cases pending additional information from law enforcement before we can make a charging decision. As Lori had mentioned, we're currently in phase 1, which is remote hearings for the court. So no jury trials through the end of June in district court. No jury trials at least through the end of May in circuit court. Our June status is unclear. And we haven't had jury trials since March 2020. Which means that there is no incentive for anybody to do anything with their cases. And so they just keep piling up and piling up on us. To give you some ideas, some moving around in our office, the child support specialist that we did have has been out on maternity leave. We moved Ashley into her position. Ashley was our part-time CSF grant funded secretary. So we moved her part-time into the child support while the other one was on maternity leave. And the way things worked out, we were planning on moving her to that position full-time and not retaining the other employee. But making those moves, we heard from our victim advocate that she was accepted into MID's nursing program. And she had applied for that well before COVID hit and was surprised to get her acceptance, and we are very excited for her because that's what she wants to do. So Ashley chose to move into the victim advocate position instead. So she will start with the victim advocate spot on May 10th. Monica's last day with us will be May 6th. And we brought in Marissa Matthews to be the child support specialist. So the only position that we have left to fill then would be the CSF grant, which is the part-time secretary, and that grant is through September 30th of this year. Both Mark and I received our 15 years in prosecution service awards from the Prosecuting Attorneys Association.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you. I can't believe we've been doing this for 15 years, still enjoy it. Mark is going to transition. He's currently the opioid grant assistant prosecutor. And he's going to transition to the new grant that we got in October of 2021. Currently, he's splitting his time between both grants. That grant was supposed to plus us up back to 5 attorneys. Unfortunately, we only had 1 applicant for that new grant position, and that applicant was not a viable applicant. So we are still down an attorney since March of 2020, when the board declined to allow me to fill the spot vacated by Autumn Gruss, who went to the Attorney General's office. This week is National Crime Victims' Rights Week. And if you didn't know, I sit on the Crime Victim Services Committee with the Prosecuting Attorneys Association. And we recently provided training for law enforcement on the new laws that went into effect April 1st. We did 2 Zoom sessions for them, about an hour to an hour and a half long. So it was good that we have that capability, that we could reach everybody. But I do want to circle back around to the need for that 5th attorney. I really want you to consider allowing me to fill it, because here's the issue. Currently, I have a chief assistant prosecutor who is out dealing with a family emergency, and she's going to be out for a while now based on that emergency, which leaves us with 3. Courts are still operating. And now we have motion day dockets in circuit court that are so heavy that they're moving cases to alleviate the heavy docket to other days of the week. And so my Friday morning that I had other things planned now has to be rearranged to manage a circuit court overflow docket. God help us that if anybody else in this office gets sick, has a family emergency, or needs to attend training or anything else, because we don't have enough attorneys to cover. There is no room to wiggle. I was here until 7 every night this week so far, and I'm generally here that late every night, because at 215 cases on an active caseload, the continuing demands of court, the demands of managing 2 grants. I don't know if you've ever done reporting and financials for grants, but it's a lot of work. So not only do I have the caseload requirements, but I also have administrative duties that are being neglected. You know, Tracy asked me for the, the salary ranges, because she was trying to do work for you guys. Well, I needed to set time away from managing cases to take care of that for her. And, my attorneys are staying here after hours. We aren't leaving at 4:30, and everybody is working hard to meet the demands. And with MIDC getting paid $100 an hour, they get paid for the motions that they file. We're arguing more motions. I did a motion hearing in district court that I didn't get done and out of court until 6, and we started at 3. And a lot of that too was IT, the internet kept dropping. And so I think we lost internet 3 times during that motion hearing, which was very frustrating. And so clearly I needed that position because you gave it to me, and I argued for it. And the need for that position has not gone away. It still exists. And actually it's becoming more acute. And these cases continue to come in, and defendants continue not to accept plea offers because why? There's no jury trial threat hanging above them. There's no, they need to make a decision now to either go to trial or not, because there's no trial. So a lot of things are being set for trial. We're running a lot more hearings, and quite frankly, we need to be able to meet our obligations. So that's where I stand on that. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I have a couple. One, on the whole bringing in another attorney.
Yes.
Can you maybe present that to us on how that's going to fit within budget? I mean, I understand you need more help. I understand that. Can we afford it? Does it fit in our budget? Do you have the money? Do we need to look for money somewhere?
That was my question.
That's kind of on that. And number 2, I just wanted to maybe your opinion. Do you have any problems with maybe victims' families, that these people are not getting prosecuted in a timely fashion because the courts don't have jury trials? Do you have a lot of kickback on that?
Yes.
I've answered.
People are upset. I don't blame them. I'm upset. I mean, we have, for over a year now, we have violated not only the victim's rights to have justice and the case conclude, but we've denied the defendant's right to have a trial. And it's maddening to me that this is where we're at. And after a year, we aren't prepared to find some way to safely proceed to jury trials.
Are all these people staying in jail, or did they just get let out on bond?
Some are in jail, some are in prison, some are out free on bond, and some, while they're out on bond, are committing more crimes and creating more work.
That's what I was wondering on that.
Yep.
Is
So,
the,
What about the budget, Michelle? Is that fifth attorney in the budget? Is it?
it's not in the budget now because I had to cut it out. But it was in my budget March of 2020. But then I was told, no, I can't fill it. And I had to cut it because the board was making budget cuts. And so now it's not there.
Within your budget, would it work?
No. We would,
So you
we would need to,
extra.
we would need to add money to the budget to pay for the person.
Well, here's another thing that I've been thinking about, and I was going to talk about when it was my turn to talk, but right there is a perfect example of how maybe, because what we got till 2024 to spend this COVID money. Why couldn't you put that in the possibly the budget, and we could pay for that out of this rescue fund because you need another person because of the backlog because of COVID.
That's right.
but I just,
So I
But you
reach out to
gotta-
everybody
You
to
gotta make
get,
sure you can sustain that position once the COVID money's gone, which
That's
is only good for
right.
2
yeah,
years.
but once we get caught up on the
No.
backlog,
really though, and that's something I think we're gonna have to look into, is the fact that this first round, we have till 2024 to spend it. So if we got 3 million, why, I don't think we should waste stuff on stuff just to spend it up to lose it, but we got till 2024. So if we wanted to budget that person in there for 3 years, that would be part of that 3-year budget.
Well, if you do it for one department, you better be prepared to do it for the.
Well,
That's why I'm just reaching out to everybody, and that's what I wanted to do,
Departments need-
is to see, as we're thinking of this, if we can hire an employee because of COVID
Right.
related, and I will bring up on some of our ideas earlier, or
I
here in a
think you're
while on
entering-
the IT, or maybe Jesse brings it up. I don't know, but it's something we need to talk
I
about.
think you're entering a slippery slope when.
I think Jeff's on the right track.
I'm just wondering because of the fact if we don't have the money budgeted, where are we at? You know what I'm saying, Dale? I'm just looking at avenues to help people out.
Yes.
mhm.
Question?
Yep.
Okay, the CFS grant through September 30th, is that renewable?
No, that was a one-time grant from the state.
Okay. And then we spoke a few meetings ago regarding hiring a staff clerk for collections in district court. Do you remember that?
I vaguely, yeah.
Okay, is there grant money available for that?
For the district, I don't know.
Could
I
that,
can tell you that I passed up writing for another $340,000 grant just because I don't have the time to administer them. And so they were giving 22 of them away. Do I think that we would have gotten the grant? Probably, because we can show the need, but I can't do it. I got to spend time with my family.
can we get help? I mean, is there help available for grant writing?
Lord,
Lori, I know.
Well, you can write all the grants you want, but you
Yeah,
have
but
to
it's-
administer it.
Yeah, it's not the writing of it, it's the administering of it because
Yes.
it's so much work.
yes, it is, yeah.
And there, if she had someone else in, maybe a staff clerk for collections that could also help administer the grants.
Well, I don't collect money, so I don't know if district court would share somebody collecting revenues to do grant administration, but the person doing the grant administration would need to be here and access our systems so they can do the reports.
But that sounds like that's something we really need. I mean, my God, you're passing up that much money in grant money, which you could have gotten.
Mhm.
It just sounds to me like that's an avenue we've got to look at.
It's all
I
good
mean, I'd
stuff.
also like to point out, we have not been able to staff a child advocacy center forensic interview since Autumn left in March. Because we can't spare the attorneys to get to those. And so we aren't upholding our end of the bargain in the multidisciplinary team. So it's hard for us to tell our law enforcement and DHHS partners that they have to comply with the MDT rules when we don't. And I'm going to tell you, CSC investigations will suffer for that, because we need everybody on board doing what they're supposed to be doing and playing their part in their role. So
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I asked all the elected officials to come and department heads to talk and to share that with us. So I think there's some stuff we need to work on, and well, I appreciate it, Michelle. Thank you.
thank you.
Sheriff, you out there?
I'm here. Good morning. I'll give you, what I'm gonna do is run down just a list of some of the things we've handled to date, just numbers. If you want to go deeper than that, I can do that. But just to give you an idea what between the jail, central dispatch, and my office are doing. Year to date, from January 1st through yesterday at their last night at midnight, calls through our central dispatch center, and I'll print this off. I didn't have time to do it. Were 9,784 calls, incidences that were loaded. Law enforcement calls as primary units, there was over 8,000. My office handled over 71% of those calls. Calls not requiring a unit to be dispatched was 597. And what that is if somebody calls in and wants a property check, or a gas station had a drive off, but they had a partial plate, we don't send a car. There's certain things that we don't have to send a car on, but it's more of a documented incident. There was 464 fire calls that a fire unit was the primary unit in the county. For ambulance primary calls, there was 628 of them to date. Criminal complaints was 1,239. Total car crashes, that includes ORVs and everything, was 326. Non-criminal type assist, and I threw ACO in there. I could divide that later if you want it. Property checks, homeless complaints, welfare checks, police officers assist, all that was 6,669. And sometimes people say, well, why do you load them and go on them? A lot of those are because if we didn't go on them, there may be a criminal complaint because we didn't go on them and someone ended up in a big fight. Traffic stops, there was over 1,400 of them. My office had 855 of those. Our current jail population is a little over 100. We have 62 locals. We have 33 feds, and we're waiting to hear on the 10 other ones. I think I told you at the finance, maybe I didn't. We're working on 10 more of that to get us up to 43. We're at 5 diverted felons. Basically, that's where there are people that should or could have went to prison. They divert them and they leave them in a county jail, and we get funds for housing them here. And we have 2 holds for the Michigan Department of Corrections right now. Jail construction update. I know I talk fast, but you can go back if you need to. We had our 2 doors were put in and they didn't fit right. Imagine that. It was just, how do you put those doors in and make them fit right? Well, they didn't. We knew something was going to be bad about that. Luckily, through Brian Tomaski doing a little research with our door company, we were able to put just different hinges in them and they work fine.
Oh, great.
The door going into cell 9, once that corridor is down there, it will need a new lock. The lock was never ordered for that, but he's working on that today. I believe Obi Heath's back there today, finishing up the ceiling and some other minor stuff, and Tomaski can do the rest. And I don't have a timeline when that door will be fixed. We had a DOC inspector here to do the 2 new attorney-client rooms. They were 100% approved. They're wanting to see the ballistic test on, I say ballistic, the shatterproof test on some of the glass they put back there in the new part. And I believe that came in and it was all right. So the next thing is, once the doors are done, then I got to have our fire marshal come through and do that, and we should be final. I can't tell you a date on that because it all depends on the lock that comes in and we get everything else there. I believe that the home wave stuff has already been switched around, but that's gonna have to, make sure that works too. We're working on a thing with, and I haven't talked to Jesse about this, but we've struggled with our modems in the car have the capabilities of AVL, automatic vehicle locators in them. And we've kind of, I'll call it rednecked it over the years of just kind of using a Google map and making it work. Well, it doesn't work. We go back and forth. So I met with a couple reps from Verizon yesterday, and they have this device that can go in our cars. It goes to a map and it does a multitude of things. And I was going to get with Tracy too, to see if she wanted them on the animal control vehicles, but we can talk about that later. Basically what the cost of this is, the cost is a monthly fee. And what I'm doing right now between the cell phone bill for the county and our modem bill, I've been working with our governmental rep, and we're going to combine those two things, those two bills. And I can't remember the definition that he gave me, but it should save us enough that it's going to pay for almost 15 of those devices monthly. So they're a little bit more cost. We're going to get that to you before, obviously we move ahead with it to get your approval. It's not going to be that much, but the safety aspect of that is priceless. It's, I can tell if somebody jump in their car, we didn't hear from them. We know right where their car is. In 90% of the county, and there are a couple dead spots that it doesn't work. It also will tell me if I get a complaint on, hey, your car was speeding through my neighborhood, I can go back and it'll tell me their speed at that date and time. There's just a lot of good benefits to this. Again, there's a cost. I believe it was $18 a month per unit. Clear PD's on board. They're going to do it in 5s. They'll pay for their part of that. You have any questions on that part of it? That means no, I guess.
Yeah, I think of anything. Yeah.
Two things we got coming up. The Freeze 5K is this weekend. We always handle the traffic that. I'll have reserves and our mounted division. If you ever get a chance, and I'll give you the dates here in May, our mounted division is 100% volunteer, and so is our reserves. Our mounted is doing a training here at the fairgrounds in May, and I'll shoot an email to all the commissioners there. If you get a chance, come up.
Love to see that.
People, to watch them do what they do with their horses. And then May 8th is the county auction. Anybody can come up there and bid on stuff. Any of you want to come up and bid on stuff? If you want to go look at the stuff that's over there, you're more than welcome to walk around, look in the tent. There's again, there, the vehicles there, you voted on that. There's a ton of stuff in that tent that we're getting rid of. We didn't have one last year, I think, because of COVID, but we have a ton of bikes and stuff we can get rid of. Old tools that were from stolen, recovered, never claimed, all that type of stuff is over there. It's a pretty good list there. Scott Sikora is doing it. He does it all the time. He just works with us really good on that stuff and promoting it. It's actually on the county website now. So any questions?
The wall, is the wall finished?
Yeah, the wall's finished. It's just
Okay.
the doors. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the doors and the lock for the one door that we got to get in there.
Okay, and then you'll be able to use that
Or
area.
look at it anytime.
Oh, yep, okay, thanks.
Sure will be nice when that wall's not part of the discussion anymore, won't it?
Yes. Just checking.
Yep. Kind of
Okay.
like the price of lumber.
Good one, Shane.
Thanks, John. See you next month.
Oh, that was good, John.
Anybody got anything else for John?
Mm-mm.
Thank you. Jesse.
All right. I'll try to keep this brief. Going over our work completed in the last month, we had 246 tickets that we had opened, 303 tickets were worked, 221 tickets were closed, 108 tickets did not get time listed on them. So that's about 35% of our ticket load. We're trying to do our best with tracking our time, but it's still a learning curve for Josh and I to slow down long enough to make sure we actually get time where it needs to go. That being said, we had 27 administrative tickets. That was about 9% of our tickets. Some of the fault of mine, I threw too many items on an administrative ticket. Some of those should have been break fix items, but I was going too fast and tracking things. Our break fix items, we had 234 tickets. That was 77% of our recorded ticket load, probably a little bit higher when you take some of them away from administrative. We have 33 project tickets that were worked, counts for 11% of our tickets. 9 of them were unspecified, which counted for 3% of our tickets. I believe that's just something in the help desk system. When we close one ticket out as a duplicate, it takes the category off of it, but that's what the report told me. Some observations on this is we need to keep working on tracking our time accurately and making sure each issue gets a separate ticket. And as you can see, the majority of our time and the majority of our tickets is spent on break fix items. Adding an IT technician to our staff would help take some of the break fix load off of our current staff, allowing more time to be spent on projects and administrative tasks. Some works in progress and waiting to be scheduled. We have the server migration from 2008 to 2016. The most recent server that we got off of 08 was the NetMotion server. We still have 6 servers on 2008. 5 of them will be migrated. At least 1, if not 2 of them will be made easier when we get our new server hardware in because of space requirements and not wanting to run 2 file servers without the space to do so. One of them will go away after it is no longer needed. That's the server the prosecutor's office was using once they've kind of verified that everything is in their new cloud-based system and they no longer need to reference the old server. Our Windows 7 to Windows 10 project is coming along, albeit slowly. We still have 38 remaining computers that we need to get migrated over to Windows 10, but as we said before, we have all the boxes to it. We just need to have time to go get them all swapped out. 2-factor authentication, we've had no new progress on this, haven't had the time to do it, although this is probably one of my biggest priorities as soon as we get the time freed up to do so. That will bring us into better compliance with our remote work, especially for CJIS items and court items and all the rest of those. GPS gate, John just mentioned a little bit of that. As he said, he's setting up a meeting with Verizon. I think it's a great idea just to have the Verizon tool to do so, since the modems come from Verizon. It would be nice, tightly integrated from the vendor. It just makes sense. It's the way to go.
Yeah.
Firewall maintenance, we have more work to do under firewall. The firewall maintenance that we had last month, that caused us a little bit of downtime. We got things kind of working where they need to, but we need to schedule another maintenance window, get that updated, but it's going to cause downtime. So that's yet to be scheduled because it's working. Shelter Pro, this is in progress. We got the animal shelter's new server rolled out, SQL installed on it, and I just got the data cut from the guys that did the ARMS conversion on it yesterday. We got all the clients loaded on the animal control servers, rather their client workstations to get to the server. So that's probably going to be happening very soon. That's going to make animal control very happy. Our website, we need to find a new web developer and a web hosting company. Nick Loomis was doing our website work. He did great work, but he was way too cheap. And he's closing his doors to that side of his business. So it's going to cost us some money to find a new web developer to take on that responsibility. Our IT department, we're technically capable of doing website work, but with us being already stretched thin, I don't think we've got the time to sit down and do it without negatively impacting our ability to respond to tickets and projects.
There are a lot of updates needed on the webpage too.
Yes, there are.
Mhm. Yep.
No. Our fingerprinting project, this is in progress. I spent several hours trying to track down a mysterious LGNet circuit to connect the fingerprint machine that is already used to connect the fingerprint machine to the sheriff department to see what we need to do to run it to the clerk's office. I had mistakenly assumed that we were just going to run it as a VPN for a firewall, be a nice, tidy, easy fix. But apparently that circuit was not documented when it was put in place and nobody knows where it is. So I spent several hours trying to track it down to no avail. So next thing I'm going to do when I get a little time is I'm busting out a step ladder and I'm going to go track down where the wire runs.
All right.
So that's in progress, Lori.
That's the first I've heard of it in 3 weeks. Thanks for the update.
You're welcome. Update on our server project. We got the equipment quote from our vendor and consultant finalized. We've got a pretty good idea how much it should cost and all the bits and pieces that we need. Writing up my RFP is going to be the next step because this is going to be expensive enough. It's going to require request for proposal. So that's where that project sits. The reason why we need to replace those, they're at the end of their reasonable lifespan. They're likely to fail soon, and they're becoming more expensive to keep under warranty because of their age. And our current servers are slow in running a space. In the last month, I counted only 5 tickets, which would have been resolved and or had not happened with the new servers. This only accounts for 2% of our ticket load. So the new servers will not reduce our IT workload by a significant percentage, but they do need to be replaced for the aforementioned reasons. IT staffing, we are understaffed for the amount of work that we need to do. We would like to request to add a third IT person to our department. A third person would both improve our ticket response time and project completion time. We've gathered multiple options for IT staffing. The first one that we gathered was IT Right. They would like to charge us $120,000 a year for no on-site support staff. I do not recommend this option as it does not provide good value for the price. Kelly Services, they can provide us an IT temp. This would be estimated cost of $44,850 a year to $51,675 a year. We direct hire Josh after he worked for us through Kelly Services for about a year. So we've had positive experiences getting IT staff from Kelly Services before. This would be my second choice after a direct hire. Third option is a direct hire. Depending on salary, a direct hire would cost us about $54,778 per year, going off of our current IT technicians' total cost to the county, which includes salary, FICA, Medicare, MERS, workman's comp, and insurance. That's your total cost for what this person cost us. This would be my first choice. I think that would be the best option because not only would we hopefully be able to attract an experienced person who could hit the ground running, but they would be able to take part in our on-call rotation. They'd be able to work overtime for us and just be a tightly integrated member of our IT department. I believe that that option would provide us the most value for
The Kelly Services option.
Yes.
What level, if we went for the Kelly Services person, I mean, how much knowledge will this person have?
Depends on how much you want to pay. That was for an IT technician who has about 2 years of experience in an associate's degree. So kind of about what we want to see for a help desk technician. They provide IT services for people at all levels, even up to and including engineers and director services and everything else, but that price would increase accordingly.
The only advantage to Kelly Services, if we utilize them, person's not working out, we just call Kelly Services and say, don't return, don't send them anymore. Send us somebody different.
That's right.
That's one of the good options to something like that is that, you know, the person that you've got, instead of you hiring somebody and then now you're kind of stuck with the person.
Conversely to that, this is Stephanie. You think of it the other way, then you're wasting more time training a new person every other flip-flop. So viably wise, it doesn't make sense because again, if there's turnover, that person decides they want to go to a different company, they don't like it here, they leave, et cetera, et cetera. Ownership, accountability oftentimes comes into play much more when they're a part of a team.
Well, you've got some good points there, Steph.
And those are really good points. And that would be an issue if the person decided to go elsewhere and take a better position somewhere. However, we did actually direct hire Josh from Kelly Services after a year of him working for us. And we had offered him a raise for him when we direct hired him on from Kelly Services. So we made it worth his time to work for us versus going with a different agency in Kelly Services.
What's their labor pool like with the labor shortage right now? Do they have a lot of people select from or?
They do. There's actually a lot of people waiting to look for work and the IT market is going strong in COVID.
Okay.
The benefit of going with a direct hire person over a Kelly Services person is the direct hire is not going to be that much more expensive for us versus Kelly Services. but you're not paying Kelly Services the finder's fee,
Mhm.
and they would get better benefits at a lower cost to themselves. So the technician that you would hire would be making more money working for us directly, but Kelly Services can hook us up with talent very quickly. And if they don't work out, we can go get somebody else through Kelly Services. So you kind of got pros and cons, and maybe you find somebody you like through Kelly Services and then offer that person a better opportunity a year from now if you direct hire them on, if you like their work, and then they're benefiting and we're benefiting because we got hooked up with the talent, and then they're getting to take home more of their paycheck instead of some of it going off to Kelly Services.
Jeff, you said you had some things you want to talk about?
I'm just letting Jesse finish, and then on mine, I'm gonna jump in right on the same topic though.
Right.
We've also met with Michigan Works and have an internship. I don't know how Jesse feels about that. We did discuss it. Apprenticeship, excuse me. I got them mixed up all day the other day, didn't I? Yes.
Same here.
But, and that's why I'm gonna ask Lori or approach you about this also, that we could do this at an approximate cost of the county for the first year at about 30,000. The second year, what was that? About 34,000, 33,000?
Something like that.
For the second year. It's a 2-year internship. And with that being said, if we like that employee, we can keep them on. If not, we can terminate the internship at that time. Now, some concerns that Jesse has is this person has a learning curve to get up to speed. Lori, you need help now. I just don't feel that IT right thing's gonna pass this board. I really don't. So, but I'm hoping that'll take some pressure off, save us, you said 54, that's about $24,000 and $22,000 in consecutive years. And what I wonder on this, for that 2-year period, can we say we have tons of IT issues because of the COVID? I know we're gonna ask for IT stuff. Could that money we're getting that $3 million from pay 2 years worth of salary for this?
I was wondering that too.
This person.
I was reading some of the information that Pam had sent over on the apprenticeship stuff, and it does look like there's going to be a significant amount of work involved with the on-the-job training. So that will add significantly to the amount of work that I have to do on my plate in training this person and making sure that we fill out they call them their qual cards, which is their qualification cards for each of their training items. The net value, I think adding another body is probably still going to help us, even if I have to spend time training the person. I just think that it's probably not going to it's probably not going to feel like adding a third person to the department, but it will help.
I think we need to, my personal feeling is I think we need to look at someone that can come in and hit the ground running. I mean, we've got a crisis here as far as IT from what it looks like to me. And I don't think we have time to train.
I would agree. And looking at the apprenticeship program, it looks really cool. I wish somebody had offered me an IT apprenticeship when I was first getting into IT. I think if we hire an apprentice, it would benefit us slightly, but it would benefit the apprentice greatly. So I almost would see if we get a third person in the IT department right now that can hit the ground running and solve our immediate issue. If we want to look into some apprenticeships for some community development, IT workforce development down the road, after we have 3 IT people, maybe hiring on that apprentice, that would be a fantastic opportunity to help people learn and grow and develop in the IT workforce. I just think that the apprenticeship is going to help the apprentice more than it will the sponsoring organization.
Jeff, could that COVID money be used to pay for the direct hire or Kelly?
I feel we need to research that. I don't know. And that's Tracy and Jenny are learning about that. So
According to the financial advisor, he didn't see where new hires would be that, but it definitely would be a conversation Tracy and I could have with our auditor.
Okay,
But,
great.
they weren't thinking adding additional staff was going to be something that was.
And you want to make sure you can sustain.
And then,
okay.
that's another
And then you have
thing
to be able
that
to
I
sustain it,
like
obviously,
about
going forward.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
deal is that if the program doesn't work in 2 years, you're done and you don't have an employee for that time. And if you don't have the money to back it, but I do feel IT is going to be a huge issue coming forward with Zoom and
Right.
paying,
But if it
setting up.
doesn't, but if the apprentice doesn't work, we have accomplished nothing as far as getting some of these tasks done.
I
That's the
agree.
thing. I mean, I don't think we can, I don't think we can afford right now to take a chance on someone. Let me put it that way. I think we need somebody that has the knowledge that can step in with running and take care of some issues and some projects that we need done now. We need it done yesterday.
A question for Lori. You said you had the money in your budget for this person. Is that correct?
I didn't budget for it, but I do have two funds that I did check with the attorney, and because the needs are not being met, I can use that money to pay for the services. Jesse has suggested they'll just bill me and then it can add to the cost, but they can't just bill me if IT is here doing the services.
So you'll check with the attorney and find out.
I did find out.
Oh, you did find out?
Yes.
And
They can't, the current IT department can't bill me and me use it out of those funds, but because those needs are not being met, I can use those funds.
You can use it. It's in your budget then.
Or someone different than
Okay.
our current IT. And my suggestion would be for you to allow me to just do it for a year for my office while everything gets worked out so I can be up and running. I've been dealing with this for several months.
We're losing money, aren't we, on the fingerprinting?
A small amount, but yes, we are sending them out of county. The sheriff's department did start doing fingerprinting on Monday and then stopped again yesterday because of COVID.
I can't see us losing money, period.
We're inconveniencing and this isn't an issue that's going to be fixed tomorrow.
No, but
It's going to take weeks, but if I have to go 3 weeks before I even get an answer back that I'm working on it or not working on it, that's my issue. I don't know why I couldn't have gotten an email back saying, I'm working on it, I'll get back with you, but just nothing for 3 weeks. And then I don't know what's going on.
I think we need to look at letting Lori go ahead and get someone for her.
Just a temporary for a year. Why?
Can you afford a Kelly person?
Pardon me?
Can you afford a Kelly
I
person?
didn't price it out with them.
Okay,
I didn't ask for a bid from them.
okay, so
I
then,
put it out to bid like I'm required to, RFP, and the ones that responded,
this was to hire someone yourself?
yes.
Okay, and you didn't, and how were the results?
It was, I can't remember, three or five companies reply, and it would be 14,000 for the first year and then 12,000 thereafter. It would be for just my office, but it wouldn't be everything in my office, like courts would not be included in that because it would be coming from the CPL fund.
Yes.
And the automation fund. I could only use them for those issues, and those are the issues I'm having problems with anyway.
And you have the money there.
In separate funds.
In
yes,
separate
not
funds.
General.
But what worries me is that we're only taking care of the clerk's office to where
I don't care. She needs help.
there's other areas that need help as well.
Well, yes, but are we going to sit back on everything here because everybody needs help? Are we going, she immediately needs help.
I understand that.
Money, okay? We're losing money.
I understand that.
We need to do that.
The animal shelter just paid for something out of their own fund, which benefited them. They got a new server.
Wasn't that grant money?
Not,
Software.
Oh, software? Oh, okay.
not being fiscally responsible with the taxpayer dollars if we're buying all these IT department issues in other areas and not looking at the whole scope of the whole problem.
And these funds can't be used for other areas.
Yeah, I understand that.
My departments.
Rick.
Okay, I see where Brownlee's going with it, and I agree with her. I mean, we have to fix IT department. But right now, the immediate needs right here, she's got the money that she can't spend anywhere else but for something like that, correct?
Yes.
So what Brownlee's saying, get this fixed while we're fixing Jesse's too at the same time.
Well, you can get it fixed, but we're signing a contract.
1 year,
No.
just a 1 year is all I'm asking.
And I'd like to point out with the fingerprinting issue, that if IT Right comes in and signs a contract to manage her desktops, that's not going to help her fingerprinting issue. She's either going to need her own firewall with her own VPN to the state and her own internet connection with
That was
somebody else to come
coming, so.
or she's going to need to get hooked up to the LG net circuit in the sheriff department. So it's either going to incur significant cost for setting up a brand new system for her, or I'm still going to have to do it despite her hiring IT Right to take care of her computers, which still isn't fixing the issue.
Okay. That
You
was gonna
couldn't
be my
allow
next
IT
question.
Right to handle it?
No, I can't,
Why?
because they would be getting into our servers and our systems and they wouldn't be working for the IT department. We can't have a
They're
third-party
insured,
vendor.
Bonded company that's reputable.
That doesn't matter. We can't have a third-party company that doesn't work for the IT department.
But you could have,
Having-
say, if the board would have decided to hire them for everyone.
All we need is a wire to resolve all this, Rand. Am I correct by saying that?
We don't know
No.
that for sure.
I don't know that. I'm trying to track down the LG net, the quote LG net circuit.
Talking layman's terms for me, okay? I've said wire. We need to get a signal from the clerk's office to the sheriff's department.
There was an agreement that I found in our system from years ago that supposedly there's a direct connection to state of Michigan that runs over to the sheriff department somewhere, and they have their fingerprinting computer in the jail and the front office hooked up to it. There was no documentation to it put in place by my predecessors, and there's no trace of it in the firewall. So I'm having to try to go and spend a bunch of time and see what in the world this thing even is, where it goes, how we get into it, so we can hook her up.
And that's what I think our first priority should be. I'm getting a little tired of this, and it almost seems like it's a bickering thing instead of let's just get it done.
Agreed.
So why don't we just work on it? If you need help, let's hire, what's the cable running company?
ProTech.
Yeah. Why don't we hire them and get them here to put a line in for us? That way we're not signing up for a year contract. We all get along, move forward, and life's good. That's what I want to happen.
I don't think it's quite that simple, but if I can put my time into just going and figuring out the LG net circuit instead of spending 77 to 80% of my time on break fix, I can go do it. I don't know what's involved in the LG net circuit because I'm on a discovery mission to find out what the heck it is, where it is, how you get into it. I don't, when this.
What Jesse, this is Stephanie. What Jesse's saying is that there are multiple network drops throughout the facilities of Clare County. And what he has and what that system is using is a different network. What he's been left with is an incomplete network map of a lot of the networking tools that connect computers. So it's not just a one-time, I got to figure out where this is run to and where it comes from. And if it's a state switch, then there's a whole different scenario that he has to go around.
Rick seems
And he's
like
right.
say.
I'm just thinking on the box here. As the IT companies will they go month by month? If they do that under your direction, could they help you do this?
Potentially, they might be able to.
Sure. That's what I understand. If he can allow them to do it on a month by month basis, why can't he allow them to do it for a year? He's saying he won't allow them.
No, he didn't say he won't allow him. He just said he has concerns about allowing him, which I understand his concern.
If they don't,
he's got to be under his direction because he's IT.
And that's fine. I'm happy with that. And what's the price difference of you spending a week or however long it's going to take you to map this versus just putting the line in and paying for it out of my CPL fund?
I don't even know where the line terminates. I gotta go, I have to go, I'm at the point now where I have to go take a step ladder and start popping ceiling tiles for the line that's ran to the fingerprint machine to see where it even terminates.
Next IT meeting.
There's not one scheduled, I don't believe.
I think we need another one and.
Yeah.
And this was not discussed in detail. The email that Lori sent out regarding the fingerprinting machine went out, I do believe, right before the meeting. So I didn't even see it at that point.
I was told we weren't.
So we didn't even discuss that.
Right.
I think we need to troubleshoot.
We will
here.
have another We'll
Can we
have
get-
another IT meeting next
Can we get
month.
Kelly
What
service for
spends-
2 weeks to take your burden off? Break fix tickets for 2 weeks and then
And
stay right on it and get that done.
Right will not work that way. I asked them about just
Say County
integrating.
Services.
Oh, you said Kelly Services?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe. I can go ask them and see if we can,
I really want this problem resolved is all I'm saying. I really do.
I do too.
and her fingerprinting stuff is going to get resolved because looking at my project calendar, I'm either gonna have time to work on her stuff Thursday, Friday, or Monday.
I understand you're too busy. I'm not
Yeah.
putting
But Jeff.
blame on one person here. It's just,
Yeah.
we're not getting along and that just causes turmoil and I don't like that. I really don't.
Mhm.
We've got to resolve this and it's been far too long. This is
So-
gonna come up for.
Can we schedule another IT meeting?
For tomorrow?
Who's on it?
I don't know.
Stephanie?
Rick and I are on it.
Sue,
She's the chair. She's the chair of the.
Stephanie is?
Yep.
Can you schedule one, Stephanie?
Rick, you're on it.
Sure. Not right at this moment, but yeah, I will get it done this week.
Understand totally.
Building off of your idea, Jeff, of hiring a Kelly service person on for a certain amount of time, they're actually an hourly employee. So I don't think we're necessarily signing a contract for any length of time. If you want to jump into it, we could just call them up, get a person here like right now, and then you can hang on to them for however long you want to. If you want to get rid of them in 2-3 weeks, that's your prerogative.
No,
You need a motion.
that makes sense to me. But here's now another question. If we're going to work together, since we're bringing that person in for 2 or 3 weeks, we're maybe under the assumption we need to hire somebody. How do we want to move forward there? Where are we going to find the money to pay for that? If we're working on your stuff, Lori, would you pay for Kelly to come in and exclusively work on yours
If
at
it's
that time?
allowed, I'll check with the attorney and see if it's allowed to be used that way.
No, I think that's everybody working together to get that done.
Right.
So
Is there any way that the Claire RESD can help us out?
I was thinking that also.
We've reached out to them and they don't want to.
Okay.
I think the problem there is they're running into the same thing that we are.
Am I
They
correct?
barely have enough time to get
Right.
done what they have to get done with all the new online schooling and everything going on, that's just creating them a total backlog of work.
And I pulled a report from, there were some emails that were sent around from our local counties in Michigan. Only 9 of them responded. So it's a small sample size. But they were asking, how many IT staff do you have? How many computers do you have? And how many users do you have? And looking at the average of the data, we have more computers per IT person and more users per IT person than your average county of any size, and less IT staff than the majority of these departments. Yet we have about the same population in our county per IT person, but we have less population per computer and less population per user in our county, which looking at that average data tells me here in Clare County, we're providing more services to our residents or the same services to our residents as all the bigger counties, but with less people to fund it and less IT people to take care of it.
And I think we've established that. I really do. I don't disagree with that. We need more help in the IT world.
I mean, look at your sheriff department, look at your prosecutor department. So many people are just strapped and really busy. And I think that's because of all the services that we're providing to our county, but we don't have a very big county to fund it. So we're all running on
I
skeleton.
feel I think someone needs to make a motion that we hire Kelly Services for
2 weeks
until the fingerprint machine is up and running,
Okay, I so move.
with the funds being found either with some help from Lori or wherever we find it, but I feel we hire them.
Yeah. I move.
If we do it as on a temporary, we can take it out of contingency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get caught up.
Yeah.
but you're checking with your lawyer to see if we can
Yeah.
use you.
We'll pay for it from somewhere else.
Okay.
It's doing the work, then I can't.
Okay, got it. All right, sorry.
Okay.
So hire Kelly Services until fingerprint machine is up and running, funds to be from contingency.
There you go.
Okay.
Bronwyn made that motion.
Second it.
And I'll look through things and if there's another way
Yeah.
other than taking it from contingency, then we'll work that out.
I'm not having any more discussion on this, so, okay? Let's just roll call.
Question on the web developer. Can you check with other counties to see who they're using?
I can, and Dick also dropped the name of somebody that he recommended that some of his other clients go with, and he sent him my contact information. So I'm going to be meeting with that web developer and we'll see if we like them.
I'd like to be included in those discussions, Jesse, with the web developer.
I sure will.
Thank you.
Asplund,
Yes.
Hankin,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Majeski.
Yep.
Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes,
Motion carries.
I guess that concludes my report.
I do have something, a little something.
I got more of a little bit.
On that note, Lori Phelps said that she could contribute some from seniors in the building and community development
Oh, good.
We'll find money.
toward that.
Yay.
Wonderful.
It's important. Find
Because they
money.
do IT work for
Yeah.
her.
Tell Lori, thanks.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, I just would like to conclude by saying I am for the apprentice.
Mhm.
I am for that option, but we'll have to discuss that, I guess, at a later date. And I learned something in a meeting about the airport, talking to Pam O'Laughlin, and I don't know if any of us think of doing grants this way, but we did not apply for an airport grant because it had a 25% match and the price was astronomical to begin with. Pam said that there is a way that if you would get a state grant for the airport also, you can use the state grant money for your 25% match on that federal grant. So I just wanted to bring, it's an FYI, I kind of learned that. I didn't have any.
That's awesome.
That was even, possible. So if anybody going forward thinks about that, and Pam does write a lot of grants.
We have a meeting coming up
Yep.
pretty soon.
In my opinion on the COVID relief money is I really feel we need to put as much into the general fund as we can legally do and think of ideas to do that. That's my belief on that.
Yes.
And my 20 minutes is up. So
20.
And also to jump on that, my turn now,
your turn, Dale.
But don't make me last.
where we can take as much of that money to the general fund as possible. We also, to get some of these infrastructure projects done that we need, money that we put off years
Yeah.
from doing.
And I think that's going to be legal to do by
Yeah,
the sounds
yep.
of it. So.
Yeah, I think we need to concentrate on that too. And I want to throw caution out there to using that money to hire people with it, because we have to be able to sustain it when the money is gone.
Right.
Totally agree.
And before this money, all aspects of our budget is tight. So that, and without increased, a significant amount of increased revenue, I don't see where you're gonna be able to sustain any of these new people once this COVID money's gone. I mean, if we
Well,
use them.
and that's part of it. And that's why I kudos to Tracy and Jenny for the fact that they're getting with MAC and,
Right.
they shorted us 95 grand. And why can't we ever balance the budget? Is because we've lost tons of revenues, for 3 years. I've been beating my head off
Yeah.
because
God.
everything you try doesn't seem to get you anywhere.
Right.
Well, that makes sense then. So you're right. We need to make smart decisions there,
Yes.
but
Yep.
but also hopefully these revenue streams, now that they're out in the open, will start coming back into us.
Right.
Yes.
Is Carl Parks out there?
Let me see.
I don't believe he is.
I don't see him on the list.
I had a conversation with Carl over the dams in Clare County. And from what I understand, the state is wanting the counties to take over the dams.
Yes, that's what I talked about.
Mhm.
That-
And all this is developing from the Gladwin and Midland County issue that they had over
Because
there.
Because the community or the homeowners around there cannot get insurance any longer.
Well, that's also an issue with Lake of the Pines out in Lincoln Town or Freeman Township is that they cannot find anybody to insure their dam. So if these small municipalities or entities are not able to insure these dams, why would the county take over that liability? Unless it's forced by the state. And then we need to petition the state saying, listen, if they can't insure these dams, why should the liability fall on the county?
Isn't it already being pushed?
It's being
On
pushed,
to
and
the
that's what I
counties
wanted
by the
Carol
state?
for. That's what I wanted Carol for, to elaborate a little bit on this. And
Stacy she's the attorney that's been working on this for Clare County. I can reach out to her and actually have her come to the next board meeting and actually explain how it's all working, because she's been the one that's been making sure that all our paperwork's in order. And she did say that for those specific dams or lake levels, the counties would be taking those over. It would go on the county's insurance, but then there'd also be special assessments that would be.
To the landowners?
Yes.
to the landowners.
I'll be thrilled about that.
Cover the cost.
Well, that,
Tracy, was that legislation? Or is that an unfunded mandate that they're pushing down?
An unfunded mandate
Yep.
that they're pushing down.
Yep.
And you know, if they're having an issue with being able to, like I said, what's that gonna do to our insurance exposure? And unfortunate, if there is a catastrophic situation that happens, how that affects the county in general.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, just look at when those dams went, not one person got hurt because it was in the day or whatever.
Right.
If that happens at night, you know, that's insurance claim's gonna be a hell of a lot bigger if it can be bigger.
Well, and is our insurance carrier willing to absorb that?
I know it's
increase?
coming. MMRMA knows it's coming.
So, and what's it gonna cost us?
I think that's great to talk with the attorney next meeting. That's a very good point, Dale. I really do think.
yeah.
We got to push back on that.
Yeah. Other than that, I've been attending my meetings, going through, some are meeting in person, some are by Zoom. So a couple of the townships had expressed that they would like to see the option to continue like this. So that's why I had the question about the emergency declaration. So.
None of my townships have Zoom.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I got.
Thanks, Dale.
Yep.
Could I go next? Please?
Okay.
Okay, thanks. All right, because I wanted to tie on to what Dale and the dams and everything like that. So Bronwyn and I are on hazard mitigation planning committee. And I was talking to Jerry Becker about the upcoming meetings. And one of the things he said is that the townships who are not participating very well need to be looking at everything infrastructural wise, that if it went wrong, if they're signed up and they have a plan, they'd have FEMA funds to fix that. So that might help alleviate maybe some of the worry if there's a catastrophic event with some of these dams. So would you please get your townships to work with this committee? The meetings are the second Tuesday of the month at 10 o'clock and they are Zoom.
But if the dams are the responsibility of the county, they don't need a plan. The county needs the plan.
Then I'll ask Jerry if
Yeah.
the county has to have a plan, but still, just in case we don't get this resolved, talk to your townships about that.
Well, I believe that would be written into our mitigation plan, hazard mitigation plan,
Yeah, okay.
as it relates to that.
Yeah, all right. But there'd be FEMA funds for that. So we shouldn't probably totally freak out, but get on the stick. And I'm asking again, please tell your townships to attend these meetings, because if you're not signed up and you haven't done the infrastructure, like even if you sign up, but you don't do the infrastructure plan, if you have a problem and you didn't work on the plan for those specific things, there would not be funds for that. Does that Done. Okay, all right, please tell your townships. All right, and then,
And that's where in-kind match comes from for the hazard mitigation plans.
yes, yep, okay. Hayes Township needs volunteers for the COVID clinic, and they're usually done by 3 o'clock, and they'll take anybody for any amount of time. So if you could put that out there, and some township boards are actually volunteering like a whole day. They'll come in and take care of everything. Talk to you about hazard mitigation. Okay. Franklin and Hamilton Township have just hired 2 new blight officers, one apiece. One for Hamilton looks like he could take care of a lot of business. Okay. And I think he's an ex-Marine. Had a concern from Franklin Township over the rash of catalytic converter thefts. And I asked Sheriff Wilson the other day if he knew how many were from people's houses and private properties. And he said most of them were from businesses. But like at the one business here, that Franklin Township supervisor, he lost thousands of dollars in catalytic converters. They came in there and wiped him out, and he wasn't gonna bill his insurance for it, so he had to take that money, had to pay that money himself. Over in Franklin Township, at our last meeting, Bill Simpson from the Road Commission came in and gave an excellent report on how they're keeping up with job projects and maintenance. They have quite a few projects this year, but maintenance is, have you got any complaints about anything in your townships or villages about? Oh, right, okay, but still, I'm telling you, the roads in Franklin Township have been excellent. And I have a big logging project going on in Franklin Township, and they're putting an exploratory gas and oil well. I could spit over to how close it is. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I think that's it.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Bronwyn?
Yes, almost all of it.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry. Could I go next so I can, we're about ready to do lunch here at school.
Go
So
ahead, Steph. Go ahead.
Jump right in, Steph, you bet.
Thank you. I just wanted to give an update regarding the IT committee. We did meet last week. Jesse provided some great data regarding everything that he's explained today. I did, Rick and I had discussed last couple weeks ago, after our first meeting, like what is the goal? We did propose that question to the group, which is held right after the department head group. So going forward, clearly we'll have another meeting, but looking forward, it seems like there's a lack of communication regarding IT and IT projects. Basically what Rick and I surmised it because of the lack of communication. There's really no necessary reason to have a committee considering the department heads are on that committee and they meet right before the committee. So we're committing ourselves to death. I would be happy to attend any department head meeting that's necessary. And we'll just see what happens. From the discussion yet again today during this meeting, I believe there just needs to be better problem resolution skills. If you're going to present something to the board, you come to the board with the problem and possible resolutions instead of constant unforeseen addicts to what's happening. Like we need answers. We don't need to beat things over the head 8 million times is what I'm saying. I don't have the time for it. And it just sounds like we're very, very unorganized. So as the IT committee, and I will schedule a meeting for that again, I'll create yet another concise agenda for that where we work on problem resolution skills. That's all I have.
Spoken like a
Thank you,
teacher.
Steph.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steph. Bronwyn?
Yes, almost all of my townships are talking about the broadband internet and their lack of communication in the townships. And they evidently are having a meeting or have had a meeting regarding trying to do something themselves. They said they're fed up with the county because the county hasn't done anything. Well, I think we all got this in our mailboxes. And I asked Tracy about it. She said, we tried that about 5 years ago, didn't work. And I said, why don't we just at least call this fellow in and get, get some ideas? It never hurts. I mean, it's not going to cost us anything. This Great Lakes Energy is, they want to expand broadband internet in our county. They're not-for-profit rural electric cooperative utility serving rural parts of 26 counties, including Clare. And they've been around since 1930. They've launched the nation's largest fiber to home internet project. Their TrueStream network. Tracy said it would cost money, but the townships are willing to pay as well. I think,
Bronwyn, I just want to tell you that, first of all, please talk to Jerry Becker.
Yeah, I was just
Please
gonna
talk
tell
to
her
Jerry
about
Becker.
the meeting.
okay,
Because he heads up the broadband here.
Mhm.
But the other thing I have to tell you is that the terrain in Clare County is bad. Very hilly.
yeah.
They're not gonna be able to
That's
get
why
fiber
the
out there.
broadband's not working in some of those areas.
Okay.
We can't even get it at my house from where it's located in Lake
Well, it
because
doesn't,
of the terrain.
yeah, but it doesn't hurt to inquire. And I'll talk to
But I'm
Jerry.
asking you
Yeah.
to please talk to Jerry
I'll talk to
because he
Jerry.
can give you
Yep.
more insight on the broadband than
Yep.
anything.
Okay.
And I think our next meeting for the broadband committee is in July. Because it
Well,
meets
I'll talk to him
quarterly.
before then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the broadband, like you were saying, Tracy, it's very susceptible to terrain. I use Freeman Township because they had a broadband tower put in Freeman Township.
Uh-huh.
And their township hall is, as a crow flies, maybe a mile away, not even a mile.
From your house?
They can't get it at their township hall.
Okay,
They were struggling with it.
okay.
So maybe I could talk about Starlink, okay? Because that's the big, huge, you've heard of it? The big web of satellites around the earth that
Musk.
it's coming. Yep, and I have my satellite in the front hall. So if you wait a little bit, I'll be
So
able
you
to.
get it installed and then we find
Yeah.
out how it works.
Yes,
Okay.
yep, and they're putting more and more satellites up there. So maybe that would be a solution for out that way.
Well, it's all the townships. Every
Mhm.
one of my townships are very concerned about that. And they said they're going to start working on their own because they haven't gotten any help from the county. I don't like to hear that. So let's see, if
There's
there's
not a-
something we can do.
It's not a project we've really headed up.
Yeah, well, Tracy said about 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was the one
Yeah.
with the broadband part, and that one that Jerry was talking
Yeah.
about, yeah.
And that was it. But there's a cost. I think Freeman Township actually had $40,000 into their tower.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's-
that's the problem. They can put like little mini sending places, but like on township halls, but
they
you only about 600 feet to drive to the hall.
Okay, I'll talk to Jerry.
Yeah, he's good.
Okay.
That it?
That's it.
Thank you, Browner. Samantha?
We discussed earlier the whole blight issue.
Mhm.
And well, we just started having meetings again at Surrey Township again.
Yay.
And it is every meeting, the same individuals are complaining about the blight and everything. And everybody needs to realize that, yes, it's a pain in the butt. It takes forever. And the last one that Surrey Township had that ended up going to court cost them $5,000.
Mhm.
So that's one case. So if you take all of the city of Clare.
Ace
and then
Township.
Ace Township, and then Grant Township, you're looking at a pile of money real quick.
But
Scares me also. It really does.
aren't they supposed to pay that in their court fees and fines, the parties?
If they lose.
Lori,
Yeah.
how quickly does that happen? How often does that happen?
Years,
Yeah, but that's why we need,
$25 a month.
we need a collection.
So we're stuck footing that bill. We don't have the money.
That's what scares me about that whole thing.
That-
That's what
And
Terry Acton told me when he was with Hayes Township. He said the only way to do that is fund it. And he had an exact amount, and it was a lot of money just for a part-time person to do that. Most of the expense was the court costs. So I agree with you on that.
it's just, and like Rod at this point said, the courts aren't really doing anything, so it's just sitting there, and so then everybody's calling and complaining him, and they're not getting anywhere, he can't do anything.
Well, there's people
So
getting irate,
he
yeah.
can.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to sit down and talk with anybody on the blight after the meeting. I can give you a ton of horror stories.
Oh, well, we've got those, but can you give us any solutions?
Well,
Nope.
Nope.
Frost has a great blight fellow, and he's following up and he's getting action without going to
If-
court.
If
He
they
just-
follow.
He just moved to
But
honors.
it's a lot of people that don't and refuse.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Yes, you have, if somebody were to come after me, I'm gonna pay every dime and do what I have to do. But for every one person, there's probably at least 20 people minimum in this county that don't do that.
Sure, you're right.
So,
You're right.
Talking three of the most populated areas in the county too, the three that we
Exactly.
mentioned for that.
Yeah. And is it Mark Janesco? Because he had Frost and Franklin and Hamilton.
No,
And he
this
just
isn't-
moved
no,
away.
No, it's not him.
A new
A
guy?
new guy.
All right, good.
And he's-
Hey, you guys got your own conversation going over there? or
Yeah,
what?
we do, but
All right.
sorry.
Samantha? I gotta correct her comment.
and the next thing I would like to say, this COVID relief money that's coming down, I think putting the cart before the horse, everybody says, we need to figure out what we're gonna spend it on. But until we have a definite plan as to what we can and what we cannot spend it on, the department heads can have a meeting, and then we can have a meeting in the afternoon, and then we can get together the next morning and something else has changed, and everything that everybody talked about was not an option. So until we know what is it's able to be spent on, we're kind of wasting our time. I mean, yes, we need to come up with a plan,
Mhm.
but until we have what we can spend it on,
Mhm. And it was vaguely written.
it's just.
That might be the last final one, the end real deal. Maybe in the meantime, everybody could be writing down
Exactly.
ideas. and
Yeah,
stuff.
just
Ideas
get it.
Put that kind of commitment together, it'd be a waste of time, I agree.
It's kind of like our budget meetings. We
Yeah.
sit there, we
Yeah.
discuss something for hours, and then we come with no conclusion, and we do that
Can't do
for
it.
2-3 days, and then.
But if we have all of the ideas, it would give Tracy and I time to research to make sure that they're covered.
Yeah, I
There you
think
go.
that's the point, Jenny. Good, thank you.
I think we could all, if we get ideas, email them to Tracy and
Yeah,
Jenny.
Great.
And then they could do a kind of a take on, this was the main thing that everybody emailed. Have an outline list for everybody to look at also to help give them ideas.
That's a way to work it. Yeah.
Good
Can I
idea.
ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you guys have a list of the things that we can spend the money on, or are there parameters or things you could share with the department heads? Because if you really want me to put something together that's not going to be a waste of my time and yours,
Right.
I would really like to know what the parameters are. Then I know what I'm looking for and I can put it together. I mean, if it covers a new hire, then I'm going to get you all of that information so you can review it. If
That's
it's
what-
for other things in my operation, then I need to look into that and think about it. But otherwise, I'm with Samantha. I don't have time to waste on meetings to talk about what we want to do, to talk about what we might do, to have more meetings to talk about it. Let's be very clear in what our parameters are so we know what to work within. That's all I'm asking.
Right
We don't
now,
have
it
them
has
yet
to
either.
be COVID related. Right
Yeah.
now, their terms are COVID related and it cannot go towards pension.
There you
And
go.
then
That's
on
it.
my side, I also add in, it has to be sustainable because you already know our revenue. Our revenue is what it is unless
Yeah.
we have some other big fall,
Right.
we have more millages or something.
Yeah, there you go. There's some ideas, Michelle.
Okay, well, COVID related what? I mean, we haven't bought that many masks. We don't buy that much hand sanitizer. So what's COVID related? I need the definition for that.
Exactly.
So they're talking about IT infrastructure.
Yeah.
Lost rev-
One of the things,
Lost rev-
lost revenues.
Lost revenue, Michelle. Lost
They've
revenue.
been very vague about the things they're telling us. So we're still, of course, we're still waiting, like Samantha said, we're still waiting on a list of what it can be used for.
I don't think they're going to give us a list. I
Probably
think
not.
they're just going to make us report everything we spend it on, and they're gonna make us prove that it was COVID related.
Yeah.
And so they are doing the loss of revenue by line item. So, to me, the courts have lost a lot of money being closed.
That's right.
So
Jail,
we can
jail's
start,
lost.
Yeah, the jail, but
jails?
every line. So, you know, it's
Yeah.
something we'll have to go through every line. So the biggest ones in the first round doesn't necessarily, you know, I don't know if we really need departments to get involved at the first part, because basically we're going to go through 2020 revenues, see what revenues we lost item by item, because they're splitting the money they send us in half. So we can only do so much. But there's also things they are going to allow us to, Tracy, help me out with this, the essential, non-essential workers. They're going to allow for pay increases, but again, the pay increase has to be sustainable once the money is gone. So we have to work that out. But it's not like they're giving us list. We have ideas and we keep getting more, but they're not going to give us an exact list.
So I did a calculation for 2020. And it was just like a quick snapshot just to see approximately where we were. And it looks like we had a loss of roughly $1 million, which can go back into the general fund.
But can you prove that's all COVID related? That would be the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or can they prove that it's not?
Well,
Let them come after us. Yeah,
Get forgiveness, get blessing.
exactly.
But Michelle, that's a good idea to check with Jenny. I think you've got a lot there that you can put down. I
If
do.
you guys could even just share the vague ideas they've given you, that would give me at least a vague idea of what I'm supposed to be looking for.
that was pretty much it.
Jenny, can you do that? Can you send us an email?
Yeah. Tracy and I can work on something and send it out. And it might just be, you know, yeah, we'll send something out. But, you know, with it being so vague in the first part, it, you know, might just.
We just cost the county another.
Yeah, because we also have to bring the
Cost
tax
the county another $100.
public into it as well.
Yeah. And then we start and then we narrow it.
Okay, still Samantha, you're still up. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Done? All right. Rick?
Sandra took all my time, so.
I did not. I was extremely short.
That's right.
You need to add anything else?
No,
All right.
I think you were the guy that took up all the time.
I didn't take up too much, but that wasn't all me, so.
Still.
I think we answered everybody's questions, even on the budget, just, you know, and how are we on the budget? Jenny, is our general fund like hugely negative right now? Where do you think we're at for the year?
We are in the general fund negative. I have put in our full appropriation, and plus we are already $1 million that we've borrowed from the delinquent tax fund, which I have to get back from the general fund now so I can pay out the delinquent tax money, and hence why we're getting the tax anticipation note.
Gotcha.
So it's the standard. I haven't seen anything drastic right now.
That 170 or 43 or whatever, that should help
47.
quite a bit, shouldn't it?
Yeah, that just came in. That just came in yesterday.
So Jenny, where approximately are we in the negative?
Well, right now it's 647,000. But we'll be switching that all around, and you know, we start getting our millage in July, so that will change in July, and that's when we do the short-term tax anticipation note payoff. We pay it off every September. And we're trying to get away from that, and you know, Tracy and I are working on some options to maybe we won't have to do the tax anticipation note next year, but it's something we have to work towards.
Great. Oh, that's good news. Yeah.
But I will say that if you look at the expenditures for last year compared to this year, we're down $732,000 compared to last year's one for our expenditures.
Well, we need to be. And we're running.
Oh, the expenditures are down. Yeah, okay, good. Yes.
That is very good.
Yeah. So we're
Just
on the right
your
track.
department heads are working hard.
Yeah,
Thank
they
you,
are.
department heads.
Yeah, you are working hard and we're on the right track.
Department heads and elected
But
officials.
hopefully
and
that
boards,
we
I
can
guess.
use-
And elected officials in courts. Thank you.
And beef that up. Keep your heads up. Okay. Any public comment?
Come on.
Anybody? Peanut gallery back there?
Sure, I guess since I'm public, I would just say thank you so much for all of your hard and diligent work.
Thank you.
Valerie, thank you. Okay. we're done.
Hey,
I mean-
can you hear me? This
Yeah.
is Melissa from the Conservation District. Sorry for my attire. We are sorting all these trees to go out over 11,000. I'd like to thank the commissioners that reached out to me via on the gypsy moth issue. Thank you, staff. Sandy, you know who you are. Thank you.
Mhm.
And that's just all. Thank you.
Thanks. And tree pickup is Thursday and Friday or Friday and Saturday?
Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
Sandy, I think I got your order done.
All right, I'll be right over. No. No. All right, thanks.
I want.
You want to add another half hour?
Mhm. You haven't lived until you've helped with packing up.
I gotta make sure Sandy's done talking.
Might be here.
I thought we adjourned already.
I know.
Oh, all right. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right,
You have to do a roll call?
roll call.
Now that you've made a motion, we do. Thank you.
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
Benstoff,
Yes.
Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Asplin,
Yes.
Majeski,
Absolutely.
Brown.
Please.
Good job holding the meeting today. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, yeah, but